Futures trying to get back to positive territory here this morning as we get going on a Friday. Happy Friday. It's been a busy week, but lots to talk about this morning. Bank of Japan surprising a few anyways overnight with a interest rate hike that had things the downside ever so slightly, not only throughout the Asian session, but into Europe as well. We are climbing back to the upside here as far as individual names go this morning. A lot moving around, lots of earnings to get to. Tesla did not report, but you're going to be able to get the new Model Y now in America coming up. So heads up on Tesla today, 0.8 already, trying to take out session highs heading to the upside. TXN was an interesting one after the close yesterday, got absolutely smoked down to 190, trying to climb higher here, but a miss for Texas Instruments. Boeing was another one, just back and forth, kind of a mess as Boeing tends to be these days. It's a light day on the economic calendar, worth mentioning as well. 10 o'clock, we do get Michigan consumer sentiment. There is an inflation side to that, but I don't know, is that even a thing anymore?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Tariffs are the only wild card. That's kind of my view on that. But Boeing, another $4 billion loss on the quarter, an eye-watering number to lose on a quarter. Brendo down 1.5%, close to 1.5%. The loss to talk about today. Donald Trump finally signing that EO, the executive order for crypto. Details on that forthcoming. Tesla, as Brendo mentioned, with the new Model Y. Now, it was only available in Asia when they released it a few weeks ago. Now coming to North American markets. Novo Nordisk with another GLP-1 doing better than expected. 22% weight loss for those who are participating. And Twilio reporting as well. Keeping an eye on that. And hey, Donald Trump and Xi Jinping seem to be getting a little bit better. He had good comments about China and going forward, the relationship that he expects to forge.
I mean, they were besties the first time around, right? So what's going to change? I was reading, going back to that GLP-1 note, I was reading an interesting article yesterday afternoon on that, and they were testing it with, I forget what the other drug was, but it was a combination of the two drugs that was able to maintain muscle mass, because one of the downsides that has come from these GLP-1 drugs is that you lose a lot of muscle mass during the weight loss process. So they're trying to find a way to maintain that at least a little bit better, which will be positive. Here's an IBIT right now. Nice gap higher here this morning along with Bitcoin. We're back to the top end of the range, 1.8%. So lots to discuss on a Friday. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, everybody. And we're just sort of saying, like, it's Boeing loses a boatload of money, but it's at the point now where, like, yeah, whatever. Only down at 1.5% because we are so, desensitized to bad news from Boeing. And this, it's the kind of thing that kind of makes you believe that it's putting in a bottom just because they don't care. Like, there's no double-digit drop on this. You know, it's like the volume's not even really doing anything. I think that's actually a good sign for Boeing. And obviously, Twilio had a great day. I would say a little bit of disappointment yesterday with IBIT. I think that's a little bit of an understatement. When we got, you got the executive order that you wanted. It ended up being a sell the news event. We're gapped right back to where we were in that moment. Like, pretty much, like, we were right here, just underneath $60 and at the 105 level back and forth. So there's a bunch of crypto names at key prices, Coinbase, and obviously we'll be tracking some IBIT here. And don't sleep on $80. Palantir is, I can't say a day away because it's Friday, so it's like it's today away. It's at 79. That 80 level is kind of a big resistance level for Palantir. We know how those even dollars on a Friday tend to get some gravity toward them. So yeah, lots to watch today. Should be a heck of a lot of fun. You got the Raptors hat on. They played last night.
Yeah, did they win? I don't even know.
I think they actually. You know what? I think they did. I think they got the win.
Losing, but
actually, we don't want them to win.
We want 3 of their last 4 games. Now they've won 4 of their last 5 games. I mean, we're not really tanking too hard here.
No.
But finally, we've got our team back together. That was one of the issues. I think they only played for the first time like 2 weeks ago. All the starting 5 that they projected at the beginning of the year. I like that Sharif mentioned FXI there because it's on the watch list, on the sticky note today, and the watch list. I really like this play. I think that right now we have to start paying attention to what Trump is saying. And, if they're going to have positive comments with President Xi over there, then I think that's, a nice little, we're up 1.34% here. NASDAQ's pretty flat. ES pretty flat. I'm kind of liking a little bit of a playback here if we fade a little bit on FXI. And then I really honestly, You know, I had Apple yesterday. We lost on it early as it broke 226. You're back up there now. Yeah, this looks like it wants to go as well on the daily chart. I mean, I just think breaking through here on news today with an upgrade. So there's lots of stock to happen. Really excited about this weekend. It should be a great. I have a couple of hockey games, and then it should be a great football weekend. Like lots to watch out for. SMR breaking today could be another name there today. Down 1% for now, but we had a huge move up. Let's check out GameStop. What's going on with GameStop? All right, 28.50. I want to thank, I don't know if Chef Joe's here, but last night he was on the Market Recap show, so a big shout out to Chef Joe, who was fantastic. Talked all about his Tesla position, so if you want to go back, check last night around 4:15 on the stream, and you'll see Chef Joe talking about Tesla and his favorite meal to cook as well. Yeah, I mentioned Palantir was possibly going to be breaking those all-time highs even this week, but that's still a ways away, man. You got to get all the way to $85. I mean, it could do it, but what a move! I mean, just in a week and a half, you're almost up 20. You are up 20% here on Palantir in just over a week. You know, so we really like the dip buy there. We talked about it, and there it goes. Comes right back into the same level that it turned over a new leaf back in December when it turned up to the NASDAQ. So there it is, there it is, there it is. A nice extension there. Not much on the imbalance locator today, though. I mean, not even a Boeing on here. As well, some Oracle, some Citigroup. I'm not even going to click on Ford. What is Oracle? 187. So it's still having a problem with that $200 level. It's actually coming back in, right, from that. Yeah, so we did bump up there on Stargate up to 195. That's probably going to be a buy as well. Like
would they get to 50 period?
Area. Yeah, exactly. 178, 170 to 175 there.
That SES at the top of the locator, not very big. It was only like a couple of 100,000 shares, but that was that mover from yesterday. It actually held the dollar level. It's only 13 mil shares, maybe worth an eye if it gets back to that level on SES. But yeah, I'm inclined to agree on that Oracle. And Oracle was a sort of sell the news event when we got Stargate. The Stargate name. Whatever. It's a TV show, man, Stargate. No, how can it not be intriguing one if we get any kind of a pullback in that 50 period? It's just you got so much juice on that, and there was a really big bounce yesterday. You don't wonder if like that 180 bounce wasn't it, and you don't get another crack at it. Kind of like Apple in the 50 period moving average, or so the 200 period moving average on the daily. Maybe you don't get a second shot at it. Hopefully we do, and then we get a chance to buy some dips.
And was moving around a little bit this morning. We got that note yesterday, late in the afternoon. RJ was talking about, or I guess it was about midday. RJ was talking about autonomous and what do you call it? Eyes free or something like that. The ability to have self-driving essentially with Rivian by 2025, and then complete autonomy by 2026, which is kind of ambitious considering the work that everyone else seems to be doing, and they're just working on building cars.
Right. It feels like it's a big data dump that you need to have in order to have all the nuts and bolts that you need for FSD. Yeah. So he's calling it eyes off. Close enough, Brendo. I mean, same thing. 2026 is the time when he wants it launched. I mean, I don't know. My research so far has showed me that this is basically a data-driven pursuit. Tesla has the most amount of data, obviously followed by Waymo and Google, who have hands-on as well. So I don't know if they're going to be collabing with somebody over here or what the situation is. It's their first-gen vehicles that come with a suite of assisted driving and autonomy features. It already comes called Driver Plus, while the second-generation vehicles, those are the ones that are going to have the autonomy platform, Brendo. So we're going to keep eyes on that and report on it.
Yeah, if you look at what happened on that yesterday, there was a quick reversal back higher. I mean, it was still a down day overall for Rivian, but lots of volume coming in behind that move, guys. We go out basically middle of the range, but decent sized volume as well at the close yesterday, and then the gap higher today.
There's probably, kind of like phone operating systems, there's going to be a small handful of automated driving software that ends up ruling the world, let's just say. It'll probably be like a couple, maybe three. I'm just going to go out on a limb and casually suggest that I don't think Rivian, whatever theirs is going to be one of them. So everyone's going to be developing them, and there will be a ton at the beginning and then a bunch. You'll be probably if they survive to that point using somebody else's. So I don't know how much that's a big deal for them. That said, remember where we did the old trusty 200 period moving average. So Rivian, at least temporarily, knock on a little bit of wood here, temporarily bounced off that 200 period moving average and held 12 bucks yesterday. So that's a pretty solid sign for, like, if you're going to make a curl on what has been, a bit of a rough road here since 15 bucks and then higher at 16 and a half, then this would be the spot for Rivian. It just, when you do like this little like bottoming tail and then hold above the previous close, like you need to, at 1250 is an obvious over-under level. It either holds that or whatever, you're back to going short and it's just a trend down. So you need confirmation, I think, this morning. Gapping above the level on 500,000 shares of volume isn't necessarily enough for me. I'd put it on watch, but like you ask yourself, like, would you rather look at 930 for a trend reversal on Rivian, which could happen, or would you rather look at 930 for a trend continuation on, say, like a Palantir into an 80? Either one could happen. And Rivian could be a way better stock to trade than, say, Palantir. But the first place I would look is the lower hanging fruit, I would say. So yeah, it's nothing wrong with having it on the watch. I think if it holds 1250, it has tremendous potential today if you get an up day. But it won't be the first place I look.
That 1250, actually, yeah. I'll talk about that in a second. I asked traders what everyone was trading this morning. A couple good answers there. Some people trading the USD, yin, yang. We talked about that. But I just want to say a good shout out to our friend here, because chilling out with his trading situation here and watching us over here.
Boom.
So a big shout out. Thank you so much for that. Share your spots there. A couple MacBooks. We like that one. So thank you so much for the retweet and for all of that support there. Look, I'm going to bring this down. This is our e-signal charting. So I have e-signal up to the top here. I use it, for all these technical indicators and just, for the most accurate data that I can find. Look how clean this looks here on the 200 period moving average. It comes back in, falls right into that level, just as Neil mentioned it. I feel like if you're going to go long, though, you can come back into this area. We have earnings. It's just a matter of, when they have earnings, just a matter of figuring out if it holds down here near 10 bucks. Probably worth a nibble if you can get it. I think Rivian's a great opportunity, for the long-term account if you believe in this space. You're not going to get that many possible double ups. Rivian can get back into the 20s. We've seen it back. It hasn't been there in a minute, but it can get back up here. So if you even test this 17 or 18 level and it's on a good story, then this is a possibility for sure. We're going to have names like Affirm and stuff like that we're talking about, but at the end of the day, Rivian, I see them around. I like them. There has to be more than one EV rolling around, right? So
True.
I think that's a good opportunity there to get that long. So looking to add one more name onto here, but it might be Rivian. I don't know. Volume 475,000. That's pretty good. I can check this out here. This is the e-signal hot list with the trade rate that we have right here. This is NVIDIA, Tesla, MSTR popping around right now. Palantir, SES, you mentioned that with the imbalance. And then the big stock that everyone wants to talk about, and again, thanks to e-signal for this scanner, is Twilio. Twilio, wow. I bought this stock because we were using the technology here when it IPO'd. It IPO'd at $30. Look, it's been up and down. You can call up huge charts for this thing. During COVID, it was going absolutely insane. But talk about a monster play here. From the summertime, like Twilio down here, $20, $55. Back here, that was incredible. Now you're going to get to 135, a triple in 6 months for Twilio, up 19%. So we'll get to the nuts and bolts of that. Make sure you do scan the e-signal QR code right there. Grab all their tools. Also make sure you grab our watch list to find out the information there on Twilio and many earnings reports other than Texas Instruments.
Yes, because Texas Instruments is, it's not really that important, Texas Instruments. I can't think of a reason why.
We found out the one stock that Adara truly hates.
When Dara pointed it out, I think it was unprompted, Texas Instruments, it's not going to make the watch list today despite the fact that it had earnings. I'm like, okay.
I was like, what?
I was like, all right.
But she's right, though.
There's a lot to look at. We're just kidding.
And that's why I'm telling everybody, make sure you download the watch list, like ASAP. What was that? Some ASMR stuff you're doing?
No, I just I just heard somebody say that Adara hates Texas
I
Instruments.
said that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard that somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I said it loud.
Before we go back to the desk, thank you, Live Fast 56 for coffee money.
Coffee money. Okay, here we
appreciate you. That's
we
what I'm
need
talking
5 more
about.
of those, and then we can get a little bit of a latte action going on here.
Let's go.
But yeah, and Randy's not here.
Right. Yeah.
So what the heck?
It's Friday. Randy doesn't. Randy tends to not be here on Fridays.
Yeah, he has a lot of days off.
Yeah.
That guy. But okay, let's go back
Enjoying
over.
it.
Yeah, we'll talk about TQQs. We'll talk about everything. But when we have a guest like Michael Noss here, we don't make him wait for too long. So let's go back over to the desk.
True.
It's Friday. Hey, we're backwards today. Hi, Michael Noss. How are you? It's
Hey, we're
usually on
that
the
way.
side.
That way, that does.
It's Friday already. It's been a quick week. Lots to discuss as far as the overall market is concerned. You've been hard at work coming up with a few of your own items. So they're going to switch it. There we go.
There we go.
Now it feels normal. Perfect. Talk us through what we're looking at here today.
Yeah, so, the wild market for sure. Not really too much to go over technically when it comes to the broad market because we just hit all-time highs. So I don't think you need a CMT to come on and tell you that getting to new all-time highs is certainly bullish. So like Brendan's been saying, I have been working kind of on my own over at Stats Edge Trading and trying to build some systems and some ideas, things that we can quantify when we are in a bull market and that we can trade. So little teaser for, I'm sure, what we're going to talk more about when I'm over visiting you guys this time next week. So first chart here you're just seeing is just an equity curve of this idea, right? One thing I'm getting deeper and deeper into is quantitative trading and systematic trading and the ability to prove that what I'm doing is going to outperform the market and what markets this thing is going to work. So you can see the green line is just the equity curve of the strategy I'm going to show you, and then the red line is the S&P 500. So in bull markets, this generally outperforms. It does overwhelmingly good against the market as a whole. In bear markets, you can see the pullback, so this won't do as well in those bear markets. So if we're going to break new all-time highs, this is something that I'm going to pay attention to. So next chart here is just showing what we're talking about. So you guys have Brian Shannon on all the time, close friend of mine, not the creator of the Anchored View app, but certainly the guy who's popularized it the most. And this strategy is pretty simple. So that dark purple line, that's the Anchored View app. And it's the Anchored View app from all-time highs if we're looking back. So this is an example of what we're trying to do with this particular setup. And of course, I've got some ideas for you. Idea is pretty simple. You're looking to have a stock that is very strong, and you're ranking the stocks by how well they're doing in an overall uptrend. You're looking for them to pull back and spend a month or two below that Anchored View app from all-time highs, and then a breakthrough. And the idea is that when we get back above that price, we have sentiment shifting, and we have things that are, people are now happy with the stock, even if you started to buy it from the worst possible price, which is what that Anchored View app from all-time highs represents. If I started buying Berk B before that purple line, and that was 2023 or so, I would have got it in the worst possible price at that moment. And when it gets back through that price, my sentiment shifts. So that's the idea. So my thinking of bringing the scan to you guys today, or the system to you guys today, is that there's going to be a lot of these things that have pulled back when the market pulled back there, and maybe doing some catch up, maybe now doing this sentiment shift and breaking through the Anchored View app from all-time highs. So when it comes to what I'm going to look at for the next week or so, it's going to be those names. What's breaking through that Anchored View app? What's having the sentiment shift? What's potentially going to catch up and break out with the overall market? So of course, I got some names for you. First one here being Qualcomm, QCOM, for those who don't know. And again, the idea is pretty simple. That's the Anchored View app from all-time highs that happened in, I think, May, June 2024. And ever since then, this one's been pulling back with a lot of the kind of semiconductor AI type name in space. Been pulling back a little bit. And this week, you can see we're trying to break out through this Anchored View app. And that's like 175, give or take. Very good looking weekly chart, very good looking technical pattern. And again, we know if we're going to be buying names that are strong as they're breaking through this price point, we have the data to say say that this is a good thing to do, and this is something that potentially could help us outperform in the long run. So I really, really like the look of this one. You could use the psychological level of like 150 or so for the stop. For me, I want to see a break. I want to see that continuation happen pretty quickly. If we get back below that anchored VWAP, I want to get out. But this is a really good looking name, not only because of that anchored VWAP, you can see this nice base it's been putting in since July of 2024. So a long time in this base. So that little breakout, I think, corresponds with that. That's where we're adding a little bit of discretion to the system. The system will pump out a whole bunch of names. We go through and we try to figure out the ones that we like the best. And next one here is a regional bank, a Bancorp. So Ameris Bancorp, it's actually a foreign bank, I believe. And again, the same pattern. We have this anchored VWAP from all-time highs, or at least a major high. We've been pulling back. We've been spending some time under that. I like the banking space if the market is going to continue to price in these rate cuts that everyone's believing is going to happen. Then if we're going to get more rate cuts, that's going to benefit banks, and it's going to benefit smaller banks, I think, a little bit better. So tried to break that anchored view up from all-time high last week. Didn't quite get there. Pulling back a little bit this week. That's sitting around $65 a share. It's a good looking bank, and got to add some banking to my portfolio. Last but not least is the example we used, right? So we used Berkshire Hathaway, as that first example of what we're looking for is some time under the anchored VWAP from all-time highs and then a breakthrough. That's what we're getting here today and this week in Berk B again. So it's interesting. He seemed to kind of nail the top in selling a lot of his Apple. So a lot more bank exposure and different names like that. So we've now spent 2 to 3 months under that anchored VWAP, broke through it last week, and we're kind of testing it this week. So if old Uncle Warren can hold in here, I like the look of that one as well. So there's some setups for you, and there's also an idea. So you can start going through some of your favorite charts, anchoring that VWAP to all-time highs, setting alerts for those prices, and then if they break through, at least with the data that I've shown you, that it's a good way to get involved in names that are having that sentiment flip.
Take two. I know we'll get questions on this, but if you didn't mention, that was a weekly chart we were looking at there, correct?
Yes. Yeah, those are all weekly charts. It doesn't really matter what time frame you're looking at, because that's the beauty of an anchored VWAP, is it's going to be the same price regardless. I just think the weekly chart was just easier to demonstrate with.
Yeah, I remember last time, I was just saying to Sharif, I remember last time you were actually here in Toronto, we were discussing this kind of on an intraday basis when you get those stocks that are gapping higher, using that gap candle and then waiting for that same kind of retake of the anchored VWAP on a continuation move after a gap fill.
Yeah, I think, again, you guys talk to the master of anchored VWAP, but what I like about it is it does a few things when it comes to looking for sentiment. And then also we know that there's some algorithms that are kind of programmed to buy and sell at VWAPs. When it comes to large institutions trying to fill massive amounts of orders, they may buy at an anchored VWAP or sell at an anchored VWAP. So I think those two things are important. And like we talk about all the time, trading is fractal. So this idea of spending a lot of time under an anchored VWAP before breaking, that might be something that a day trader tries to test on some of these crazy movers. You have a stock that pops in the morning and then pulls back in the afternoon. Try anchoring a VWAP from that high and seeing if that flip ends up working, because I could see the same thing happening on a very micro scale.
Great stuff, as always. Michael Moss, in-house next Friday. We're looking forward to it. We'll see you then, my friend. Have a good weekend.
I'll talk to you then. I'll talk to you virtually on Monday.
Looking forward to it, Michael. I love dropping the fractal knowledge. Wow, I absolutely love it. And let's get some Mandelbrot in the house here, everybody. And that's for math nerds. What I liked about, it's Berk B, like Berkshire, that made me want to reiterate a point. Sean and I were just sort of discussing this. And obviously, from a trading standpoint and investing standpoint, might be two different things. But remember when all of the distress that some of the insurance names were put under occurred, you saw it reflected in the stock prices. Well, in this particular case, you look at the 200 on the daily. We keep talking about it over and over again, but like these good, higher quality trending names, when they get there, it's just, you buy out in front of it, And oftentimes it could be like a catalyst or news that takes you there, and then you get that bounce. It was the exact same thing. I mean, not exactly the same bounce, but it's the exact same move that Apple's been doing right into the 200 period moving average. And I think a lot of times when you're guessing as to where you want to own something for the long term, it's hard not to just eyeball this. When something trends above it, it's really good. And I think when you look at a Berkshire there, that looks absolutely fantastic bouncing. I actually, look, I like the financials this year. XLF was one of my picks, so I'm all on board with that. But I'm also on board with when you're looking to DCA into something, dollar cost average into something on your long term, sometimes don't wait for a line in the chart. It's like, if I see it bounce, I buy it the next day. You know, and a lot of times you really can't go wrong. And the other thing I meant to say about when you're buying for the long term, there's a really good, and it's an old paper, buying the close prices is historically much more advantageous than buying opening prices. Like if you're ever like just buying in a general sense, like what time of day do I add in my long-term account? Statistically, buying the close is better than buying the open. I forgot to say that the other day.
Right. I think, we
were talking about it, and then we didn't say it on air, that's all.
Look, I mean, just for that Berkby, I mean, I know Neil talked about it. I really I've liked this stock. I've been buying it. I've liked the Dow. I chose the Dow as one of the levels or one of the picks for 2025. It's been moving to the upside a little bit. And again, it's just that same kind of thing here. I like the companies. I like the recent addition of NVIDIA and some of the other stuff happening here in the diamonds. But you do get hopefully this will load up. All right, you know what? I'm going to go over to the e-signal platform right here, DIA, and just show you what I was talking about right now on the 200 period. So we didn't quite get down there as we did for Berkshire. So nice little bounce off the diamonds as well. You're looking for a name that's not at all-time highs. The Dow right now as well, getting close. I mean, you're a whisper away, but at the same time, you're not there yet. So if you are looking for something to get you a little bit more as opposed to, we'll talk about VOO. We talked about SPY. Let's talk about VOO. We talked about that yesterday. There's, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500 right now breaking through, going to all-time highs. And, of course, we know about the NASDAQ as well. IWM, I don't know why this isn't loading. But the IWM also, a one where you can try to gain some movement to the north side, playing catch-up.
Yeah.
Small cap needs to do.
They need to.
All right, let's go find out what's being upgraded or downgraded over with Adara.
We're the third straight day in a row. Netflix leading the upgrade side of things here today, getting an upgrade from Bernstein with a $1,200 price target. Will we finally see it close above $1,000? We'll have to wait and find out. Oshkosh getting upgraded here by KeyBank Capital Management. Twilio here with an upgrade by Robert W. Baird and a $160 price target with TWLO. This one has been moving there after providing really strong preliminary Q4 results. So that one is certainly going to be in watch today. Then we had ALK here, Alaska Airlines, with an upgrade from TD Cowen after their earnings report yesterday morning. The downgrade side of things, AutoNation kicking things off, getting downgraded by Stephens. GE Vernova, a recent earnings name here too, getting downgraded by Guggenheim, but slightly up on the day. Foot Locker getting downgraded by Needham, and last but not least, Kroger with a downgrade from Citigroup, guys. What a list. Okay,
Guggenheim. So basically, GE Verona's gone too parabolic for you, and you're not happy with it. Slapping a ye old downgrade after 7 straight up days. Since the 50-period moving average bounce, it is up about 30%. It's up in the last couple of weeks. You're up 16%. Yeah, it's been a run. But obviously, these kind of like anybody in the energy utility sector has been booming. Like VST, you're seeing going, Constellation, it's in that group. So yeah, I mean, valuations are obviously getting stretched with those, but just kind of pointing out that's what happens. And the other thing too is being reminded, hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I promise we are never keeping secrets from you like I saw in the chat. Like when I was talking about the whole buy at the close thing, that was something we were discussing, and we like to share the little tidbits of knowledge that we always have, and we love to get those kind of tidbits from you, our viewers, as well, because the community is a fantastic one. So make sure you hit the like, make sure you hit the subscribe, and then we'll share all the market knowledge that we have with each other, and everyone gets a better journey. And hopefully we're not.
I don't share everything. I got to keep some.
Keep a few.
I got to keep the family secrets here about investing, because it's not like we've been talking about Palantir.
Like where the best cannolis are. That's the secret.
Messina Bakery. I mean, there you go.
I was joking. I know you said.
Yeah. I'll give that. Yeah, of course. All right, SoFi could be an interesting name again here today, outpacing the market up 0.4%, not on the upgrades or the downgrade list from what I know. But I think this little drop, like, again, you get some movement there into the close. Interesting that happened. I'm not even sure what happened there. But taking that 1820 again looks pretty good to me. If we can hold this VWAP and head northbound, I like SoFi for a banger today. I mean, it's been just on the 5-minute chart here. I mean, the trend, obviously holding this 50-period moving average. I mean, there was like that dip that we talked about, but nicely done into this upside. So yeah, right here around $18 looks like it has some kind of support down to $17.90. I mean, you're not holding it that risky. And then even if it gets real nasty on you, $17.70 is right here to try to help you out. So you don't have to take too much risk here. Could be one where if you have a little bit of a less buying power, you could take a couple thousand shares here of a SoFi being an $18 stock, and I think get some juice to this name, especially with it being up with the market here today. So we'll have to watch out. Like ES is down, right? So down 0.13, SoFi again, more than tripling that to the green side. So, all right, it's 9 o'clock. Make sure you do scan that, first of all, for real trading, and then go into our link in description. Make sure you download the watch list. We'll talk about it coming up right now.
First off, a note from our friends over at Worksport with some PR this morning, advancing and expanding their patent portfolio by approximately 25% in the last 12 months. They also joined Lot Network, which is a nonprofit global consortium of leading companies committed to preserving innovation. So shout out to our friends over at Worksport. As mentioned, let's get a look at the overall market.
All right, let's just mention here on the SPX, the index, not the futures contract. We closed out at all-time highs yesterday. Never been this high, 6,118. That was the highest close ever. Now, with respect to the futures contract, we closed out at 61.51. So we closed out a little bit above that 50-point level. We're already below it to start the day, down 0.14, with the overnight high being 61.56. So here's the deal. We're going to look to that quarter point area, 61.25 as support. If we continue moving up, we're looking all the way back to 61.75, the area we rejected back in early December.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure you head down to the description of this video. Top link in the description will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. Super easy. All you need is an email address, and then you get that delivered right to your inbox every single day. Has everything you need to know on it every day for free. Free. Go do it right now. 1.8% here for IBIT. Bitcoin following suit here. We're back below 60, a little bit of a pullback right now overall. Yes, we get the executive order, or crypto executive order from Trump. Not necessarily the Treasury related executive order, I think, that a lot of people were hoping for.
Yeah, it was an introduction.
Yeah.
Let's just call it that, Brendo.
First step.
Yeah, first step. So the strategic Bitcoin reserve, the one that we're all looking for because it could fundamentally change the price of Bitcoin. Look, here's the deal. He's commissioned a working group to basically look at the viability of that. I'll submit to you that probably has to get done through the legislative branch rather than the executive order. However, they're going to hold on to the approximately $20 billion in crypto that they've seized from criminal organizations. Some other things that we got over here. He's going to safeguard blockchain users. He's issuing protections for developers, miners, and individuals, as well as the right to self-custody to be able to hold on to your own Bitcoin. He's also looking to support the stable coins, these tethers, the USDC as well. And one more important thing over here, he basically all but outlawed centralized digital currency, looking to throw his weight behind these stable coins, Brendo, rather than going through the Fed.
We are also potentially going to get a decision on some Solana ETFs as soon as today. So there were a lot of filings that were coming due. I'm pretty sure it's actually today for that decision. So heads up on that as well.
Yeah, and look, that'll be interesting to see if we get our next ETF with Solana for sure. It seems to me, like, who knows, but it seems to me like that probably will happen. Whether or not that's today, you never really know. It was a sell the news event yesterday. Unfortunately, we were kind of joking around like, hey, imagine that they do a reserve and it's not Bitcoin. Maybe right. It's the Trump coin. I can't imagine that would happen, but it would be kind of hilarious if it, maybe not hilarious to people that own Bitcoin like myself, but would be interesting to see if it was anything but Bitcoin. It'll be Bitcoin. I think we all know that. I think everyone was kind of pricing in that, and then there was a bit of a sell the news and disappointment event. That said, we're kind of pointing out that yesterday, you're still in the same consolidative range. So overall, like, it was just a dip back into what is the top end of the recent top end of the zone. So that's a really, really good sign. Like, are we going to break out the 61 like we kind of thought was going to happen last night? You got to cross that bridge when you get there. But I think you've got a very defined range now, like in the 58 to 58.5. If you're looking at IBIT, obviously, and we seem to be able to hold 100K pretty well in this range. So I think that's a place to look. And then individually, what's setting up pretty decently right now, you're not up that much on Bitcoin, but Coinbase is at the top end of the range. So we find ourselves with some strength today. Well, Coin, you might not be at that 61 break, but you are at a breakout spot for Coinbase at least, which is up at around 304. So I think this is the one I'm going to have on watch. We get going and there's any bids over 04, maybe looking for like an 05 type breakout for Coinbase. And it plays both directions. If we test the bottom end of the range, maybe look for the higher low here at the 95 spot on Coin. So yeah, it was disappointing, certainly, last night, but I think this still bodes well the long term. We're making higher lows. You're now holding 100 instead, holding 100 instead of 90 on Bitcoin. Those are all positive signs.
What's up to? Is NVIDIA ripping right now? Okay, NVIDIA's going up, says Joey Options over here. So I just want to say what's up to Tarek. We posted that other setup there in the chat. I really like this ultra wide monitor here. I got one for Baxter. He was like looking for something like this. So that's a pretty sweet setup there. I was asking you what charting platform you have right there, but I really, shout out to Tarek, man. I'm going to
that's sweet.
Like that one and repost that for you. So thank you for sharing that with us as well. All right, so I put down here. Oh,
Whoa, what happened to?
Yeah, I just saw Meta's falling right now too. So
no, Meta was close.
I don't know if I just heard it in my ear. So we'll find out what's going on. Meta right here, 642 down to 634. My guy said Nvidia was moving around as well. We'll have a quick little check in on what Nvidia is doing. 146 and change. So yeah, a little bit of a move up there for it. Well, I mean,
there's a headline here.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg planning to grow Meta's AI team significantly. Investing 60 to 65 billion in capex.
Yeah, so
in
that's
2025.
why.
So 60 to 65 billion in capex. That's great for Nvidia, and people don't always like a lot of spending, but that's bullish for Nvidia. No questions asked. So that makes more sense why you got the Nvidia spike up and then the move down.
I just punched long on NVIDIA. So just very, very small starter position. I want to be part of this move. Okay, so what I wrote down here with IBIT was 61 pull through to 59 dip buys. So I was just thinking that if we break through on IBIT, let's go. Let's go, NVIDIA, baby. This is what we're doing, Neil. This is why we're here. We're here for you guys. We're here for the trade. Thank you to Joey Options. Thank you to Meta. And there it goes right there, man. We are already printing right there. It's a banger, Neil, to start the day on NVIDIA. Fortune favors the bold. We got in there immediately, took that long on that news. And this is what you have to do. This is what being a trader is. Analyzing the news, stepping in, taking the money, and then spinning the money around and around and around. So, wow, okay, this is okay. That's your first Dollar Club winner right there, brought to you live. It came over to me. I'm long NVIDIA. There goes NVIDIA. Nice move to the upside. We are out of half of this trade. Let's get out of a little bit more than half of this trade. This is exactly the talk that I was saying yesterday when I said, you just wait till NVIDIA comes earnings. It'll already be close to that $200 mark because CapEx, these guys are going to spend. And there it goes. It's a nice play right there. Props up to anybody watching, following your boy. Okay, so there it is. I mean, we're doing it again. Every day we get tweets. Can we do it again? I just say watch. I mean, I don't know. Proof is there. Right, IBIT through there. So anyways, let's, you guys can go have a check. We'll see if we can get out some more of NVIDIA. But at the end of the day, I like the talk. And I just think the more that we hear from Trump, the better it's going to be. I mean, I just think people will ask questions. I think you'll give the right answers. There's 61. It's kind of where we got to yesterday. or the day before. Let me just double check. Was it yesterday's high was 60? Yeah, so yeah. So sorry, yesterday's high 61, and then we also got there the day before and failed on it. So I kind of think a breakout through there is probably respectable, or dip buys into $59. But let's go NVIDIA. I'm going to monitor this play, as now we are really rocking and rolling here. It's NVDA to the moon. Go follow me on Twitter. Let's go, Brendan.
Holy.
Yeah, great move for NVIDIA. We were just kind of chuckling about Meta downside here. Might be a little bit much, but there's a quote actually just coming through here from Zuck. We'll read through that in a second here. So 1.3 million GPUs could be included in this spend. 1.3 million GPUs. We're planning to invest 60 to 65 billion in CapEx this year. We'll also grow the AI team significantly. So, I mean, you and I were just saying, if it's 65 billion, how much of that's just going straight into NVIDIA's pocket?
Well, they moved inversely. Meta went down, NVIDIA went up.
Yeah.
It was exactly as you said, kind of going from one pocket to the other. Obviously, that doesn't take into consideration the rewards you get, obviously, when you invest in something like that. So we'll have to see exactly how that goes. Should we talk about Tesla, though?
Yeah, let's have a look at that image that you have up there. If you haven't seen this yet, this is the revised new version of the Model Y. Now available in North America.
Yep, it is. It was only available in Asia to start. We kind of built it on the How to Trade show during the midday last time on the Hong Kong website. It's now available for pre-order in Canada, Europe, and China. Here's the deal. South of the border, it's going to cost you about $59,990, Breno, and that doesn't include the $7,500 EV tax credit, which may not be available after, I think, February 1st. We'll keep an eye on this one. Obviously, it's one that we've reported on earlier. You get a bunch of stuff. You get a bigger screen. You get ventilated seats in the back. It's a different light bar in the front. It's a contiguous light bar in the front, contiguous light bar in the back. You got interior.
This guy's very excited about it.
He is, and I don't know why, Bernardo, but he was blurring stuff in the video there. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on over there, but yeah, good looking car.
Yeah, I mean, I like the sharper edges and the little more aggressive styling in it. They were a little bit too round and bubbly.
They were
initially, so it's a little more sleek at least. But yeah, more options, guys, for Tesla buyers.
Which is good. That's been the complaint is. The recent complaint has been that they need the refreshes, you need more options, and certainly I'd be a little more excited for the smaller models that you can get out there, but it's not bad news. It's just interesting that you're only now getting to 1 million shares of volume on Tesla today, and the other flip side of the coin is, obviously, when you have NVIDIA going, and that's now done tons of pre-market volume, and obviously Meta on that news is going to be big. Tesla is going to end up a little bit on the back burner, but 413 is still, it is what it is. Like, that's where resistance was before. It's supported a couple times. So that's the line to watch on Tesla. I just don't know if this is going to be the trade today. And yeah, it doesn't have a lot of volume. So I think it's a bit of a pass zone. I think if we're looking at an EV name, probably Rivian looks a little more interesting, even when you look down at that 1250 level, as opposed to Tesla, at least for me.
Okay. Wow, we just got out at one. Oh, I mean, now it's ripping up high. I was gonna say we just got out at 148.30 right now. This is $1. I'll take the other side of it. I think Tesla's one of the best trades today. Long 414 here. I think it could get into 420. Watch out for 424 breaking higher. So it's on the sticky note here. And you know, we've been really nailing Tesla. Tesla's been an absolutely fantastic stock for me lately. You know, strong today, much stronger than the market. It has to be looked at for sure. It's just one of those plays where you're right there, right to 414. I like that level. It was kind of the highs there yesterday. We'll see if it can wind up holding. So pullbacks into 414 are fantastic. I don't think there's really a breakout level. I mean, you could play the pre-market at 416.40. But at the same time, I'm already bidding down here at 414. See if we get a dip buy opportunity in Tesla. So, we're already we're kind of over the moon a little bit here with NVIDIA. I really like the trade there, breaking through these levels of 147. That news hit and, you know, it just blasted off. You're never too late to get into a good trade. So that was it to the upside. And we're getting lighter and lighter on it, obviously, as we go here. We only have 20% left, but that was already a big trade. It might already be P&L number one by the time we're done this round at 11 o'clock. So let's wait to see what winds up happening. I like NVIDIA, but I do like Tesla down there as well. I'll put some shares on. I'm already bidding down at 414. I think it's a trade worth taking, and it's the #1 idea here today on my sticky note.
For Twilio, actually taking out the highs right now, 20.5% here to the upside. Better than expected results. The forecast pretty impressive here as well. I mean, this thing's up $6 from where we left off last night.
Ridiculous move here, Brendo. Good look, 20% and going still. Here the deal, guys. Recent performance revenue for the preliminary Q4 results. 11% booming revenue, surpassing the 7.9 the street was looking for. Adjusted operating income also exceeding what the street was looking for. With respect to free cash flow, that also beat the guide. Really good for 2025. Free cash flow in the range of $825 million, $850, with revenue growth expected to be about 7 to 8% this year. That's in line with expectations. I should say, AI integration is going to be their main focus this year. They want all 9,000 AI companies that are companies that are using their platform to be integrated into their AI platform. They plan to expand conversational AI, and no acquisitions planned for this year. So cash is going to stay where it is.
I think that's going to be the biggest thing going forward, is that conversational aspect of it. I mean, you and I were talking about ChatGPT and the ability to just have a conversation at this point if you have the paid tier.
Yeah, and you like, it's not a one-off conversation, Brady. You go deeper into the issue. It's like, hey, no, explain more about this. It's fantastic.
And you can actually just completely change topics right in the middle of it too, and just go in a different direction. It's
amazing
crazy
stuff.
Crazy. But what do we do here, guys? Twilio up huge.
For continuation. I mean, it's obviously, it's up 20%. It's up 10% from the initial move in the aftermarket, where you at 430 when you're trading at like 126. So maybe not 10%, like another 7 or 8%. Let's just say a little bit closer to the number. You know, when this is happening, you want the stair-step play to the upside. Usually I'm like, yeah, let's just go with the pre-market low or like a little bit of a gap fill to the prior high. But when you've already blown out the top, you can't necessarily worry about those types of things. I just look for VWAP to hold early, and if that doesn't, then it's the pre-market low, and try to keep it relatively simple. You know, that said, it's not a ton of volume, but it is very, very good relative volume on Twilio. It's not a super big spread name, but it's one of the names that, especially on a Friday, you're going to want to make sure, check out the imbalance. Don't be having one running against you and then just necessarily be sitting on the bid to get run over, and wait for that open volume to start to come in. That said, you know, I do like Palantir here, and be remiss not to mention I'm looking for longs in Palantir into the 80 levels. I said that's where I wanted to be at the open. We're looking for this one to do the old hold a pre-market low, hold a VWAP, rally into the big $80 level on the daily. That's not the all-time high or anything. It's just the lower high from the beginning of the year, like January 6th, I think was that 80 high. So yeah, I mean, I do like Palantir more as a trading vehicle than Twilio, but I think you got to look at Twilio as well.
All right, I'm just getting, I'm actually putting an order in here. Okay, so we got out of another piece of NVIDIA right there. NVIDIA is now $1.35. What's the max? Right there in the money. So we did it already again there. All right, we're done. Now we can start looking at this. So my next out is going to be 149 on this thing. And then we'll just see what happens near that 150, so on and so forth. Oh, Rob, I must have missed it. That would be fantastic. Thank you. Oh, Rob got one. Wow. Thank you so much, Rob, for that. Oh, thank you. As we go. Okay, thanks, Rob. All right. So as we go, there goes NVIDIA. We like that trade. As I said there, it's hard enough, as you'll see, you know, to grab these dollar winners. This is $1.50 right here on excitement, and NVIDIA's just getting going. So Twilio, I just say the same thing as we always say, and it's been working, right? It's just a dip back into VWAP. So whenever there's huge gap plays, this is outperforming its expectation on the day based on options. So you do want to look for a continuation, although that theory did fail with Netflix. Netflix outpaced its expectation, then fell that whole day. So, yeah, I would just say if you break through this 134, you want to get out of Twilio, but I'm not actually buying until you get into that 134. And then if you're going to do that, I mean, it's up, honestly, like $25, you're not just going to get in and get out with a 50-cent loss or anything. So I think you want to really look at the bottom of this, which is 132. So I would say start buying around 133, 134 if you get that opportunity. VWAP is dynamic. It'll be changing as the market opens. Obviously with that big opening volume print. Oh shit. Oh my. NVIDIA right now just touched I'm at 149 even. Get me these shares at 149 and we'll be fine. You know what? I might just put one out right now, get it in the 90s. I don't know. It's just, there it goes. Okay, finally, face slapper right there. So yeah, man, if you guys, wow. Okay, Neil, there we go, man. This could be that early just.
Oh, NVIDIA.
NVIDIA right there. And look, man, congratulations. I mean, this is why you guys are watching. We tell you to send in your layout, send in this, send in that. What you're looking for is trade ideas from us. You're looking for executions. You're looking to play the game. There's a perfect example there on NVIDIA. We brought you the news. The trader stepped up. We made the trade. We looked at Meta. We're in this name, and I hope you guys can also join us in this NVIDIA long at some point.
Shout out to Travel Trader as well, who grabbed the Meta short.
Yeah, man, huge Meta short. Yeah, and that was the other thing, like Meta short, NVIDIA. It's
okay. Yeah.
Congratulations to everybody, and thanks Neil for that. So let's go over to somebody.
To the desk, and we get to take care of some biz.
Brought to you by Hive Digital Technologies, HIVE, the ticker on the NASDAQ. They're pioneering digital transformation through sustainable AI solutions in Bitcoin mining, a global leader in cutting-edge data center operations with over 2,700 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Hive consistently tops industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash and is redefining the future by powering the world's most transformative technologies with efficient green and clean energy. Learn more, follow them at Hive Digital Tech or hivedigitaltech.com. Sign up for their free newsletter. Let's talk some Boeing here. It was not a good report as expected here for Boeing, but only 0.8 on the way back up here.
I think like all the bad news is factored in already, Brendo.
People are over it.
It's another $4 billion loss on the quarter, not the year,
it's fine.
not the half year,
fine.
The quarter. I was doing a little calculation here, Brendo, and over the last 4 years, they've lost $25 billion. They haven't posted a profit since 2018. So it's a bit of a tougher look. Now, with respect to the actual data here, Q4 loss, as I mentioned, $4 billion revenue, expected to be about 15.2. That is below the street's expectations. Cash burn continuing to accelerate, $3.5 billion expected to be reported in terms of for the quarter. The annual profit, as I mentioned, they haven't printed a profit since 2018. Some of the challenges they're facing, the 777X and their 767 program due to the labor strike contracts, as well as their defense unit, their tanker program, their 747 Air Force One project, also space problems as well with Starship getting stuck in space. So some of the operational challenges here should be mentioned, though. They raised substantial amounts of money in the fall that helped them kind of keep the ball rolling. Let's see how they do.
New CEO. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, those astronauts are still there, I want to say.
Yes, I think
it's February.
Something like that. It's supposed to be SpaceX bringing them.
Yeah, that's crazy. Boeing, though, guys, as we said, trying to get back upside?
I mean, bad news is not as bad. I was looking at no. It's not that bad news is good with Boeing. It's just that at this point, it doesn't matter as much. Like, we know they're bleeding money. We know they haven't made money in a while. We know they have issues that they have to get in with production that they have to figure out. We know this is a turnaround story. But all of that seems like it's already priced in at this point, and even today, like you didn't even break down this week's range. It managed to hold on. Like there was in the aftermarket, whatever, there's not a lot of liquidity in the aftermarket, but what happens? They just bid it right back up. So I think if you're looking at this today, just what was the prior low? It was 173.5. I think you go from there. If it doesn't lose that level, then Boeing goes back to being what it was, which is a slow grind back into the upside. I just want to quickly, and we're going to get to a firm in a second, but Meta is having a little bit of a bounce back. It's trying to get back to the prior high where it broke out in the afternoon yesterday. You know, ideally, that news doesn't hit. I was looking for Meta continuation longs. This clearly changed. News changes things, right? So I can't sit here and say, yeah, it looks just as good going along to the prior all-time high. No, it gapped up, and now you have this weighing underneath it. So I have to eyeball this 635 level. maybe even consider going the other way if it fails at 635 here at the open. But Boeing, unless it sees that prior low, it could happen. It's a Friday. If it does enough of a dump there, I think it's got some support underneath it.
All right. All right, let's go back over and we'll talk about Affirm. Affirm is on the on my sticky note and on the watch list. So we'll talk about some key levels that we like for Affirm right here as NVIDIA hovers around that 149. I just got some more out right there. We're in the money at $1.80. We're taking more out. We already got one out there at 149. So we're right here right now. Now we're just holding 10%. So we're only in 10% here into the open. We do have 30 seconds and we'll see some imbalances. So let's go back over the desk and then you'll come back and we'll discuss Affirm.
Yeah, a few positive notes this morning on the back of Affirm coming through as well. The Wall Street Journal also reporting this, $750 million in funding coming through from Liberty Mutual. 4.3% failed, however, just failed at that initial high. A bit of a pullback right now through 59.
So this is interesting here. This LMI, Liberty Mutual, is actually going to purchase some of the installment loans that currently sit on Affirm's balance sheet. It's going to be initially about $750 million, but the program could grow to about $5 billion by June of 2027. Just to give you an idea what kind of customer base Affirm has here, they're supporting over 19 million active users, Brendo, and about $28 billion in gross merchandise volume was bought using their loans, so substantial amount. Affirm's up big not year to date, but in the past year, up 4% this morning.
Yeah, we should maybe stop talking about it because it's coming back in pretty hard here right now, but nice look to start anyways.
Yeah, so guys, for Affirm, what's up, Adam DeLuce there? I don't know, where'd you get that number one thing there from the chat? I can never find these emojis. All right, so I have Affirm written on here. I like 59, I wrote down 58, right? It's at 59 now, just to make sure. Yeah, so pull back into 58. So again, I like the space here. 58 is a little bit, I mean, it's only 6% short float is what I'm seeing. But right into here, this little sort of where we ended and then we gapped lower, we tested 58, and then we started to make these lows. So it's near the bottom because I like it. I like some of the talk here about the new investment, committing over $5 billion. I mean, this is what these sort of, and Affirm's not a startup per se anymore, but this is what these companies need. So I like the investment. I like the runway this gives Affirm to complete more deals. So I like the stock. I wrote down a $60 break, but you know what? That's like a lower high, and we may be putting in another lower high right now. So I'm not super convinced anymore. I will take a little break here on 60, so I'll put some shares in. But this one's going to be trading pretty lightly, but I do like the long. So if this keeps on falling back in here, I am bidding right now. I'm bidding 58.25. So we could get that right off the jump. So if we do, we do. By the way, Apple just pulled back in. So the imbalances. So we talked about these all coming out here. NVIDIA's a sell on that. So that's, we like we said, we only have 10% left there. Apple's a sell, but Apple falls right into, again, I'm not, this is a trade that I want. We have Apple right here at 225. It just came in with a couple minutes to go. So we're taking that long. So there's a first nibble long on Apple. Remember, to get run over here, this is what happened to me 2 days ago, or maybe it was just yesterday actually, we were able to battle back on Apple in the afternoon, but at the end of the day, do not catch this falling knife here. If it does come back in, we wrote down 224, might be the stop. So let's give it to there before we really start to panic here about Apple. But for right now, only 2 minutes to go. I like the Affirm long, I'm bidding it, but maybe this market comes back now. As we figure out this NVIDIA news, right?
Yeah, I was kind of I'll still be on Palantir, at least for now. That looks pretty good. Apple, I like the 223.5 as a kill spot. So I'm looking at, it's starting to come in here. I'm looking at 224. I had one short, that's not, whatever, it is what it is. I am looking short on Intel just because of the pattern it's had the last couple of days. We still have 2 minutes. It's been down a couple of days in a row, prior high. So I want to short back into this 2180 prior high, and then this high that you had yesterday. Did I just hear it called to the desk?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just real quick, guys, we're reading more about this Meta note this morning. We're back to green. Big bounce underway right now. They're also building a 1 gigawatt power plant that apparently could cover a significant part of Manhattan. It's that kind of size for Meta.
Hopefully, that's good. I mean, we'll figure out what happens here with Meta, but nice little move back to the upside. It's huge, right?
Like,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is we're in that AI revolution. You just said nice short to whoever that was in the chat. I hope you guys covered that play because you just got burned if you were short Meta there. Come at the king again. Like, I really like Meta. I like NVIDIA. I like all of the tech stocks. So let's just wait to see what happens. Chef Joe. And by the way, Chef Joe, thank you so much for coming on. If those of you watch Chef Joe, this guy's a natural. I told him he's coming for my job. Takes it down there yesterday on the recap show. Shout out to you, Chef Joe. Okay, here comes Tesla. We're long Tesla. We wrote down this name as well. So Tesla long at 414. Here we go. We're in that name, the bottom for Tesla. I mean, we said 412, and that would be sort of yesterday's close. If we're wrong, we want to be wrong down into there. We never like getting in too early, but we are in right now. So let's wait to see what happens. Maybe it's a 413 break, but Tesla right now long and in charge a little bit, 25 cents. So we'll wait. Apple's trying to get back upside as well.
Yeah, Apple. We got the countdown coming in. Apple coming in as well to that 224. But Adair, last time of the week in the red. Ring it in one. Let's go.
All right, so we're just going to get some of our stop orders in right now just to make sure that we're all good. Oh, and by the way, those of you worried about Apple, let's go, man. There's another one. It's a good trade right there as Apple. We just got a piece out to the upside. Hopefully some of you bought that dip down there at the 200-period moving average. We did not. So a little bit of an out there for Apples. It just ripped up to 225.50. And by the way, Neil, we did it again. They question us. They question us. And there goes Tesla up to the upside. It's $1.60 in the money on Tesla. It's $1.70 in the money on NVIDIA, and we're 10 cents in the money on Apple. This is what we're doing every day. So over here, so far so good. Let's just keep on going, man. We got another out. We got double outs there. Double barrel outs there on Tesla. So far so good. So far so good. You know, you never know where this market's going to go. But Apple right here, let's just see if it can climb back up to the promised land, 226.
It's trying. It got to 225.5 there on Apple. So it bounced off the pre-market support on Apple at 224.5. It did make a run at this $0.50 and continuing to go. Palantir's coming in.
Bang. Look at
Palantir's
Tesla.
coming back into that 78.5. Ooh, we just barely missed it.
Holy
catch this bid here on PLTR, but the market making a very nice rebound. Only in Apple for now, but I'm also sitting VWAP on NVIDIA. This is a powerhouse. The market went red to green just there. Come on, Palantir, pick us up. Don't want to have to take a breakout on PLTR. For sure. Like I said,
Neil, I know you're busy, but you might remember the number one trade that I mentioned to you. You threw it back to me on Tesla. I said the number one trade here for me today was Tesla. It's now, Neil, $3 right now in the money for Tesla as we go upside now. I'm going to start to empty out more and more here for this play. There's a decent one. Look at the pullback. We talked about liquidity coming into question here. And it just, these moves can happen. Pop $1, drop $1, pop 5, drop 5. So let's start to get more and more out of these plays. NVIDIA, perfect example. Nice pull right back down in for NVDA as well. So we're starting to get some out at the top here. It was a nice run on some of these names, but Neil, look at the
market's
NASDAQ.
Coming back.
Yeah, the NASDAQ's coming back pretty hard here. So great trading on Tesla. Yeah, go with Palantir. Let's go.
I mean, it's hilarious that the market is coming back and Palantir is saying, no, we literally don't care. So I'm just going to cancel the bid at Palantir. We're sitting at 78.32. Shout out to Magic Johnson. You didn't help me today. But it looks like you're trying to hold on to VWAP. NVIDIA just pulled back into VWAP. But I also want to make sure that we get Palantir here if we hold on to this 79 level, as it's looking pretty solid here. So 79, that's a real wick, by the way. It did get down to 78.4. Looks like we'll have to pick this one up at 79. And definitely relative strength here in Palantir.
Oh, buy a firm.
There it goes. I mean, NVIDIA goes right into VWAP, so continuation play into VWAP on NVIDIA. Apple still holding on to the 224.5, but with the market pulling back in, there's your retest of the double bottom. That's not it's like
there goes Tesla.
3-minute chart, so it's like kind of a double bottom, but right back in to this low is Apple. If we hit it again and bounce, we'll look for a re-entry on the long side of Apple. I guess I'm not getting an Intel short, so
No, the market really pulled back in here a little bit. So, you know, we got out of some Tesla. We're still in a little bit of this Tesla here as we wanted to buy it. We talked about 413, 412s as an issue right there. It does dip down and low to 411.70. Remember, we just said, like, what goes up comes back in, goes up $5, down $5. That's literally what just happened. So we did take a piece out there as it's coming back right now.
Palantir 80.
Yeah. Like, come on, man. Do we love that trade or not? Yeah, go over to Neil's screen there with Palantir. I'm in a $1.70 winner again here on Tesla on the reload, but I'm assuming you're in that Palantir.
Well, it came.
I just have 5 positions.
Yeah, no, I actually was just in. Take a break. It went
4.
right away. I jumped back out. If it's gonna go up to that 80 too quickly, breakouts have to work right away. What I'm staring at right now is Intel. I got to be able to catch this one. It's a bit of a miss, obviously. So, you know, it is what it is. Not happy with that one on Intel, missing that. And, of course, missing the dip on Palantir. I'll take a breakout at an $80 level, but if it instantly fails, jump out and be willing to come back into the trade if you get another crack at it. NVIDIA is also retesting VWAP in here, so want to make sure we reload that. Those are the 4 stocks I'm looking at. It's NVIDIA, it's Palantir, it's Apple, and obviously Intel. We'll see if we get a shot. But obviously when that fail break happens, I'm not trying to hold it all the way back into prior highs. I'd rather have it pull back, give me a better entry, maybe 79 quarters, 79.3, something along those lines. Or we could just take the break the second time after it's rinsed some weak hands out.
Yeah, we can see that. Exactly, perfect example there. Yeah, it's like you always say, it's okay to be wrong, just don't stay wrong. So in and out there of Palantir, and I'm trying to do the same thing with Tesla. If we break out, okay. Trying to have some diamond hands now as it's reloaded a little bit down here, but we did get stopped out of some down there at 412. We talked about that level being one of those things. So we did get stopped out there. But again, like we're going long into here, so getting stopped out for $2 and making that is fine. We talked about only having that 10% left. So far so good here on Tesla on the reload as it shoots right back up to the upside. Affirm. It's not doing anything. If this breaks down through the quarters, through the 3 quarters, so 57.75, I'm just going to get out. This came with nothing. It was on the watch list. I like this. I like the news. They get the investment. It was up near that $60 mark. I thought that was probably better. We talked about our sort of look at a firm, not doing much, but we'll still wait for it. All right, so $2 here on Tesla. We just took some more out there on NVIDIA. This name we also had 10% of this one. Now we only have 7.5% left on NVIDIA, but watch out. This could go red very, very soon here on NVDA. So we're watching out for that. And then Apple, I'm here to support it down at these levels. So if we can get into 224, then that would be, you know, I'll buy a little bit more here, but I'm waiting for a little bit lower into 224 to follow our plan. There's nothing more important than following your plan. So that's exactly what we had in mind. So we're just going to sit back and relax a little bit here and look for some more plays. I wanted to also get long FXI. That's okay. So that's kind of coming in a little bit now. So if this falls into play, we'll get some long FXI. I'm bidding 91s. Let's just see if it goes. Again, not much happening. I thought we liked sort of the talk there about China today, but you know the ETF's not doing anything. Maybe we have to go over to a BABA or something like that. So we'll keep. Or
Pinduo Duo. That's also worth a watch. The other thing sometimes you got to do is maybe try to adjust on the fly to the plan. So
right.
I don't know if we're going to be able to, like I'm going to be able to get Intel. I don't know at this point. Like this is a flat bottom break. I think it's got a lot of room to the downside. If we end up with a red day, obviously the stock is already red, so we might have to look for some kind of bounce. Prior highs might not happen. So we'll look at VWAP. I think that's going to have to be the first angle that I go to. But there goes Apple. Like Apple initial bounce gives you $1, but it can't hold on to the lows. So if this is going to happen, remember yesterday on Apple. Like remember yesterday on Apple, patience for it to make the rounded bottom, hold on to VWAP, buy that higher low. Like that's what worked yesterday. No issues waiting for a little bit of that today and not try to catch that falling knife. But let's go to the desk. We've got Adair.
This is HIMX, HIMAX. This is his third straight day here of upside, the second day of upside off the open. Basically what happened was on Wednesday morning, Ming-Chi Kuo, which is a noted Apple supply chain analyst, basically tweeting that he believes HIMAX is in a position to benefit from TSM and NVIDIA's project. So HIMX photonics play here, according to Ming-Chi Kuo, with about a 5% short float. No new news. This is just a day 3 move on that Ming-Chi Kuo tweet, guys.
Thank you for that, Adara. Yeah, a little bit of here as we go back. I mean, we're doing fine. It's just not ripping or tanking as much as I'd hoped for. It was a great start there for Tesla, a great start for NVIDIA. We sort of called that NVIDIA trade as a great one. And there it is, right back into the 200 period. So treat it as you may, man. We're at the highest spot we've been at. And part of it is because, well, actually, we're not at the highest spot. The highest spot our net was ever at was when Tesla was up here. But right now, it's a nice battle back. We did well by buying that back. But you know what just helped us out here, Neil? Hopefully we'll be up on Apple, we'll be up on Affirm, we'll be up on NVIDIA, and we're up on Tesla. So we're going to go 4 for 4. But look what just happened. Affirm just came in for us. So that was a play that we're like, we don't know if we like it. It comes up into the 200 period. We'll take that 25 cents now on Affirm. We're going to wait for a little bit higher. If we could take VWAP up, that'd be great. And then we'll see if it pumps just that little bit more. But right now, it's Affirm trying to go. And here comes Apple, man. We bought some dips. Our price is only right here. We did not aggressively buy these dips, okay? We were waiting for a better price. So we're still long right here in the 90s. So that's a negative position for me as of right now. I see that you're in and out. Now you're back into NVIDIA. So let's see if NVIDIA can climb upside as well. There goes Tesla. Tesla's a banger right here, guys. What's up, Adara?
Quantum. Okay. Quantum sharply to the upside here. This is QBTS, up about 7% QUBT. Also very strong. We're getting here up about 9% with a 20% short float. I'm not seeing any news on Quantum. Apparently, the Defiance Quantum ETF hit a $1 billion milestone as of yesterday. So we know Quantum's been strong since the election, even stronger after Google announced its Willow Quantum chip. So just be aware of these Quantum plays. Once again today, they all have short floats from what I'm seeing of greater than 10%, guys. And we also have economic data at 9:45.
Thank you very much, Adele. That is correct. They all have like 16 to 17% are the short floats on all of those Quantum names. All right, first available pop. Let it come. The market's coming back. I think Intel should give us that short. We are getting a bounce here in NVIDIA. Came under, went red to green. Well, okay, fine. Green, and then to red, and then just red to green for a split second there. Let's see if it can get back above and maybe challenge this VWAP. But on the move to the upside, this will be, I guess, the chance to try to get into this Intel short. So it's going to pull back into, it's trying to pull back into VWAP. Don't want to speak in certainties. I'll look to play it back into 21.20. But you're absolutely right there, Adara. Rigetti on an absolute churn. It did wick $15, pulling back to VWAP on its own as well. So maybe look for a VWAP bounce or continuation if you're into it. NVIDIA, that needs to get to VWAP as well. Let's get another 30 cents, and then we'll be on the offer there in front of 147 1/3.
All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the show. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We have 4 positions on right now, and the only one that I'm like, I'm not really in love with any of them. I mean, we're getting out of them all, but Affirm right here. The spread is not great. The volume is not great. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. But you know what has been great today? Shout out to Chef Joe. Shout out to everybody that watched the recap show last night as well and got to meet Chef Joe. There it goes, man. There goes Tesla again. I mean, this is now $5 in the money for us here on Tesla as we dip by into 412. It did get up to 418. I mean, that would be $6. Let's see if it can get back up to there. Are we just looking out at 417? We're getting lighter and lighter, right? So now we probably have under that 10% of that position as well. We still do have 75% of our firm position. So, we're getting out of winners when they go up, but we're kind of holding on to this loser right now. Watch out for Affirm. If we break below here, well, shout out to Adam to lose and everything like that. That's there again. So here goes NVIDIA again, man, to the downside. I reloaded it as well down here, but I can see that it's not really working out right now. But we already got some outs on the upside. And this is where you're going to talk about, like, boom. Like, we have that tick there, and then we have a 149. Here, right? And then we just bought these dip buys again here on NVIDIA, trying to give it to that bottom. If we break that bottom, then we can get out here. But I like the stock right now. I know Neil mentioned that someone there was short Meta. I hope you guys have gotten out of it because right now Meta is absolutely ripping. Huge trade there for Meta off that bottom. So good luck there and good luck anybody that looked at that. But here goes Apple, man. This could be a big one. I mean, it just got to get going. So let's see if we can go now. We'll put something at 20 here to get a piece out, but then we're looking for a lot higher than that. Let's see if Apple can get some wings there and really start to go. The market's still pretty flippy floppy right now, and there goes Affirm, guys, again. Like we're Neil, man, we're on one
into
again.
VWAP. NVIDIA just gave you that 147 third.
Yes,
But
yes.
see, right there's a seller at 147 and a quarter to 30s. And they just immediately, like the second it gets up there to VWAP, it just dumped right back into 147. If it breaks this sucker out, I think you can get above there and maybe look for some longs. So somebody's holding this stock down, at least temporarily. I think we have an opportunity. If it can get through that, I think it should be really good. Yeah, Meta's the best reaction you can ever see to negative news is that on Meta. And it's not negative news. No. You guys know what I mean by that. But it's just the fact that people don't like when they spend money. It is what it is. They tend to get punished by it. But now your all-time highs on Meta.
Let's go.
This is before the news, made an adjustment. I was looking for long back in. But when you have that kind of a dump, let's see it settle back. Go back to the original plan was as long as it's holding that new fresh high, look for the hold. So 638 would have been that top. I think that puts you in line for any kind of a VWAP dip in there. We're just still in NVIDIA and Intel to the south side. Intel still underneath VWAP. As long as NVIDIA can hold this range, want to look for the reloads, but you are continuously challenging that low. Like it's all well and good to bounce off the bottom. You break the low, it's an out, and then wait for the next support level, which is all the way down at 145 here on NVIDIA. So I guess we're finally back to the well with Meta. You never really know what news is going to transpire. So if you have a crystal ball, great. But I love the fact that we're bouncing higher here on META. First available dip, we'll go back. And let's go to Adair. We've got numbers.
Let's go video.
We do have a couple numbers here. For the first time this week, actually, some data coming out around this time of the day. S&P Services, PMI, S&P Manufacturing PMI, and Composite PMI all due in the next 5 seconds. I'm also seeing some small cap runners here like EVAX and NKLA to be aware of. And with that, we do have our economic data print. Lower than expected S&P Services PMI here, 52.8 versus 56.5 expected. S&P Composite also lower than expected, 52.4 versus 55.6. However, the S&P Manufacturing PMI actually came in above estimates, 50.1 versus 49.8 expected. So again, just to recap, lower than expected S&P Services and Composite PMI, higher than expected Manufacturing PMI. Now at 10 a.m., we're going to get probably the more important numbers, especially the University of Michigan consumer sentiment and its inflation aspect, which has become even more important. We'll also get the existing home sales number coming through at 10 a.m. there. And if you look here at the NASDAQ, nice little range here with lots of support around that 531 level. Let's see what happens here rest of the morning. 10 a.m. though, much bigger numbers, guys.
All right, thank you, Adair. That was one of the best updates of all time. Why? Because we went long NVIDIA there, a significant amount of shares down there at that bottom. Hey, man, this is what we're doing. So we're cashing it out, man, as we go back up there to the upside. We're out of half already of this trade. So big time trade alert there on NVIDIA. Also, didn't we say this before we went over? I said, look, man, we're going to see if Apple can do something special right there. And Neil, guess what happened? It did something special. Nice move there for Apple for us as we're doing it here for you. But watch out, though. These numbers, like I said, this market is just so, volatile, needless to say.
We just wicked the top again.
Exactly. So we're going to get some more out right now. So we just finally made our goal there for the day. It was a good one, but now some of these positions are pulling back a little bit now. So watch out for NVIDIA. Watch out for some of these longs. We're in it, baby, and we've got it pretty good. Good outs for sure, again, on Affirm. If it goes, it goes. But we got some more out there at 45 on AFRM. And we're making them sing right now today again, Neil, as we're going to be upside on the day right here. Let's go NVIDIA. NVIDIA is really making me proud as we continue to go upside again. It was the #1 P&L name yesterday on the show, Neil. It will be the #1 P&L name. I don't know. We'll see what else we get involved in. But for now, it is that again. So we really, really like what we're doing. Happy Friday to everybody. I hope you're enjoying the show. I know I am. And we do this every single day. We're going 4 for 4 over here, and it's been so far so good on the day. It's just Tesla right now is giving me some nervous, nervous Nancy hands here because it's looking downside as the market goes upside.
Well, that guy that, I shouldn't say that guy, that order or the sellers that were there on NVIDIA at 147.30, they're still doing a bit of a dance here, so it is at VWAP. We're doing a nice little bounce off of here. I'd like us to put in a higher low. Ideally, you basically have like a V shape or whatever you want to call it, Christmas tree on NVIDIA.
Bye
You
bye,
need to see
Refrain.
something a little bit stronger than this. And I want to see that higher low before we add. You're going to only really add at 145.5 here. Otherwise, you have to back off. Just quickly over to Intel, popped into VWAP, back into the low of the day, back into VWAP. We'll look for the reload. As long as it holds underneath VWAP, still want to play to the short side on that name. Down 2%, obviously in a strong market. The market just went red to green. Okay, Meta is trying to pull back here. There we go. NVIDIA just blasted through. Meta's trying to pull back, but it can't seem to get into VWAP yet. Still want to be playing on the north side of that one. I love the reaction that it had, but now you're through that seller on NVIDIA. Put in a higher low. Look for some ads at VWAP. 148 and 149 are going to be the two levels. So this one comes right back into said pocket. Apple, I'm not at the point yet. It's still, there's your wick, higher low. I like that. That's more of like a topping tail candle in there. I want to see some strength at VWAP, or wait for it to get either into the lows or back into 223. So Apple going to play the patience game like yesterday. That's what worked for me on Apple, so we'll stay with that for sure. Strong move on NVIDIA right now. Let's see if he can get through that 148. About a buck, but I think he can do more.
Done for the day,
Well, I have to still host. Well, these guys need win. These wise guys want winners over here. Yeah, no, she's just asking if we're done for the day. I mean, yeah, if, you know, like I said, if you're doing this, then that's the whole point of trading, right? I actually heard, we always talk about it, and actually that's what Chef Joe said too on the show. He's learned a lot of lessons. He's been, you know, he's really played the long game. He talked about learning to zoom out and look at longer spots there. But at the same time, it's part-time trading, and that's the key thing, right? So like, if you have a full-time job like a chef or any job, it doesn't really matter. Like, that's why I'm here to tell you, and Neil will tell you too if you ask him, what, you know, like right now we're 3 for 4, and we talked about the position that we were worried about with a firm. Okay, that came out and down. But at the end of the day, we've made, and this is why I tell you, goal met, because like we've now met a goal enough where we've made the right amount of trades here today, and we've hit our goals, we've hit our targets, and so now it's 9:50, Neil. The market's been open 20 minutes, and right there it's boom shakalaka, and you can now leave, or you could stay and continue to trade. And I'm going to obviously stay here and continue to trade. We've been pretty, you know, on fire here, so we're going to continue to do that. And I like the upside momentum in the positions that we have, so I'm going to sit back and relax, and you know, this is what we've been doing this whole time. So yeah, so far so good. We can have a quick look. I mean, I'm trying to get into other names there. I know Neil was in and out of Palantir, but yes, sir, look at that one. We said maybe Palantir could get to all-time highs today. That looks a little juicy. I don't think that will happen. The all-time highs for Palantir are 85, 84, 80. So only $4 away right now from that move. So you can get like a nice little 5% move up here for Palantir. That's a banger trade right there, Palantir. Boom, right there off the open, right off the 200 period. Congratulations, anybody that had that. But right now it looks like Apple wants to go the other way right now and make these lows. So watch out. We are getting, our stop for Apple is breaking through 224. So no more bids now for Apple until we get a heck of a lot lower, and then we'll see if we do hold some of those bottoms. It was NVIDIA, Neil, obviously the one that made that huge move.
NVIDIA is still holding. NVIDIA looks fine above VWAP. It's Apple just looking for the entry spot here. Ideally, we get a nice little reversal candle that'll give us a higher low. This is, I know it's all red right now, but it's still above that prior bottom. So the only good, like the initial trade off this dip at 224.50 was good. Kind of ran the stop both times. I'd like to see us give another higher low. That's what my eyeballs are on right now. Intel, so there's a few shares on the bid of 21 at Intel, which is holding it up, at least temporarily. So I guess this gap fill will have to wait a little bit till you can chew through this big 21 order on Intel. But we're still looking to short pops. I think it's still a flat bottom break and looking incredibly weak here over on Intel. Meta is allergic to pulling back at this point, so VWAP might not necessarily be a thing. So we'll have to wait for a little bit of this to calm down. I like the 10 o'clock zone to get into things that if it's outside of your range, wait till 10 o'clock in that opening range and then maybe adjust your plan then. Until that point, I still want to look for a VWAP pullback. I still want to wait for Apple to confirm that it's making a bit of a curl trade. Those should be the next two. Intel, I think Intel breaks that 21 unless the market goes even more ham than it is as we speak. NVIDIA, if NVIDIA double taps 149, I think that's an out. Obviously, the all-time high is up there right on the 150, so want to be able to respect that as well. All right, a little bit more strength coming into Apple here, but still looking weak.
Yeah, I mean, right now, guys, we're $5 in the money now. Like, look at what Tesla's doing. We're getting lighter and lighter on it, but my next out for Tesla is not until the highs. So we're gonna have to wait to see now. We do have that target down there where we got stopped out. Again, that sucked. We made the bottom. Oh, where's Adara? On the recap show, Adara asked me about stop outs and getting wicked in and wicked out of things. And I told her that that's going to happen. When you stick with your plan, it's going to happen. But you know what, Adara? To the point right now, Tesla's one of the top stocks here for the day, right? So there it goes. You get back in, it wicks out. You can always get back in, and there it goes to the top side. So great question there by you yesterday, Miss Adara. And again, here goes NVIDIA, man, still to the high side. Now $4 in the money on Tesla, $1.30 in the money on NVIDIA. Now remember, you're going to hear me talk like this. I said we put on some shares down here. We said we liked this when it was coming in, so that when it goes up, this is what winds up happening. You're able to spin something like this, have a good day, and then just now look for even better opportunities. And hopefully we're able together to find some of these. So let's keep looking for more opportunities. Tesla, I don't mind that high of the day break, even there at 419. But SMR, I wanted to have a quick look. Okay, barcoding actually not doing anything. I'm looking at some of these alerts that are coming through the eSignal platform here. SMH, Tesla, SMR, AMD, Oracle, SMH, PayPal, SoxL. So it looks like right now they are very, very focused on some of these chip names. Okay, Apple, I see you. I see you, Apple. Nice little reload down there. Neil, it's another 40 cents over here. Nice move there on Apple. Nice move on NVIDIA. There goes Apple up to 225, but it does fade out there. So let's calm down. It's NVIDIA right now that's taking it out, 148 there for NVIDIA. Just an up and down fail through there. So we take another piece out. And again, thanks, Chef Joe, for all the kind words. You're welcome back anytime, my friend. And maybe you brought some good luck here to Tesla shareholders, because right now, this is, Neil, I just said we are $4 in the money. We're now $6 in the money here as some of these names just keep on trucking to that north side. So far, so good. We just need Apple to go. We just need Apple to go, and that would really put a cherry on top.
It'll definitely put a cherry on top if Apple can go. I just took a look. NVIDIA did a wick at 148. We say if it failed the even dollar, 10 o'clock, let's grab that win, see if it can't pull back. The market also did this at the exact same moment, which was you wick the high of the day, pull back under. I like the fact the NASDAQ has come right back. That's a good sign. It might indicate VWAP could be the spot to add. Apple, as you were just mentioning, just put in that higher low here. It wicked this 224.65 level and then was able to close back above. So it basically went long at that price. Let's see it play into VWAP first and then work from there. There's still that 225 half. That is a little bit of a trouble spot, I think, for Apple. If it can't get through that, it could be in some trouble. All right, Intel just did I didn't mean to bid 50s there. Intel just broke 21, but came right back. So a bit of a bottoming tail candle here on Intel with the market at highs. I want it to close underneath 21, and I think you resume to the downside as long as this closes underneath that $21 level here on INTC. I got to slap the fail on this. It was like one short idea today, and it was Intel at 21. I mean, I know I said like these highs in here, 2160. Technically, it didn't get there. But we said this with AMD. Sometimes sit in the trade, and I guess sit in the trade in the pre-market is the other way to go. A little bit distracted by Meta and NVIDIA. And sometimes that happens. Like you get distracted by Meta and NVIDIA, and it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world because those are the big volume names. But did miss the initial short there on Intel, and we're just going to play the continuation. Still Apple, man. It just...
I know, that's the problem.
It's just not bouncing enough.
It's definitely not bouncing.
Yet. Broadcom, everyone's saying, look at TSSI. I know there's a lot of names. You want to stick mostly to your plan. This TSSI, I know it's up 8%. It's done 500,000 shares worth of volume. I think you usually have to draw a line somewhere when it comes to volume. Not a very liquid name and not one that I would pay attention to necessarily until things settle down a little bit on it and then it gets maybe consolidative levels. And Broadcom, powerhouse, almost 250, about to get to that 250 spot, up 3%. But Apple just again.
Broadcom, oh my God.
Broadcom's having a strong day. Apple again, it can't hold the prior low, so look for it to revert there. But once it closes once it breaks the prior bar, don't wait for it to close under. Once it breaks the prior bar, jump out, wait for the next level. 223 half, 224, both of those I think can be in play. But Apple doesn't want to hold on. It can like the long, it just doesn't seem to want to go. Outside of that initial push, Apple's been very, very weak compared to this market, which is green. I mean, Apple's green too. But.
Yeah, we'll wind up going red on Apple here. I mean, if it winds up breaking this low of 224, I mean, we had talked about going long into 224. Because we got a little bit out there, I'm gonna put on a little prematurely some more right here. It's at the bottom if we're able to. I just put on a bid there at 40. I put it at 43, or let me just punch in there. We've got some 46s. We're also bidding some 43s, small amounts of shares. I want 225.25. I mean, we can get even a little bit closer into 224. Yeah, let's get a little closer into 224 because we just averaged that right now. So let's go like 224, basically like almost flat to see if let's go 224.05. I mean, me and Neil talk about this all the time. You know, you just sort of bid random. You've been sort of random numbers in front of key levels. And then when it misses, I bitch about it. But at the end of the day, like, it's just kind of is what it is. Right there, we'll wait to see if Apple can come back into 24 bucks. I'm just going to wait for that level. So it's come in now. It was sort of, again, the 50-period moving average is at 224.37 here on a 5-minute chart. There's 224 right here holding, breaking higher, then hitting back down, getting to it, I guess, yesterday sort of at the end of the day and then opening up above it. I just wanted to test to see if that's going to hold. And this is part of what we're talking about. It's part of trading. Like, you're gonna sort of stick your neck out, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so new position on FXI, but a quick update on this. I'm waiting at 417.50 now. I was waiting at 418.50, as we said, looking for it to make a new high, but Tesla right now has bounced off in the last 10 minutes or so right here. So we should be zooming back out. But here we go. A nice move up. There are numbers as well. We're into FXI. Let's go Tesla. Get us out. 50 more cents. What's up, Adara?
We have a ton of numbers here to get through, including a much stronger than expected existing home sales print here. 4.24, that is well above the previous print of 4.15 million homes, and then forecast of 4.2. So existing home sales change accordingly is higher than expected. 2.2% versus 1.2% expected there. Now, we also got the inflation numbers, the 5-year inflation print flat here compared to expectations. So 3.2% exactly in line with estimates of 3.2%, but below the previous print of 3.3%. 1-year inflation, though, a little bit higher than expected, 3.3% versus 3.2% expected. These inflation numbers for University of Michigan have been really key. They led to a pretty big drop in the market when they came out last time, that preliminary print above 3%. So these are certainly things to be aware of here. The other 10 a.m. print here was the University of Michigan sentiment, which is actually lower than expected, 71.1 versus 73.2 expected. So to recap, lower than expected University of Michigan consumer sentiment, higher than expected 1-year inflation, and exactly in line here for the 5-year inflation print. With all of those numbers said and done, the Q is still slightly positive on the day, or SPY looking basically the exact same as the NASDAQ, a little bit of positivity, despite all of those really nice moves off the open on names like Meta and Tesla, not really able to give Qs or the SPY that push to the upside. Novo Nordisk, which actually had an incredible gap up, now up only 7% here. Really strong data here for one of their weight loss trials is amycretin. Last but not least here, Twilio still up about 22%. Announcing very strong here Q4 preliminary results. Keep an eye on TWLO, looking great here and giving up none of that gap to the upside. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Back to you.
Okay, we said that we were going to get very, very specific with what we were doing on Apple. Now our average price is what was just right there at 224.15. But here comes the push back in now, so watch out. The future, okay, so we're getting out if this breaks 74. Okay, Apple's really coming back in. We were just flat on the trade, and then it just went this way. So watch out for Apple finally taking down 224 right now for AAPL. So like I said, this name will go red for us, obviously, if it breaks, there it goes. If it breaks lower, we wanted to try 224 there. The NASDAQ's not doing anything. It looks like today, able to get out there. Oh, there it goes. Able to get out of some Apple up there, but at the end of the day, like I said, we have to slap fails on ourselves when we lose on trades. And there it goes. Nice move to the downside there for Apple. So just completely wrong on it. It was up there today. We thought it could continue. I kind of like the way Apple was looking. But yeah, look how this looks right now. Just straight to the downside on the 5-minute. Really no reprieve at all. for Apple. We kept on trying, and then at the end of it all there, it'll be about a 40-cent hit as we were long at 15s and out at 75s. Yeah, exactly 40 cents. So that's okay. FXI not moving. More outs up there at 148 and change. I want to get back into Apple because before I left it alone and it started to rip up, I think it was yesterday. I was like, oh man, why do we leave Apple? So let's just see if maybe there was a little bit of flushing action there. Yesterday's close is 223.50. So that could be an area to look at there. Looks like we just bounced off of 223.50. I'll try it again, just seeing that level, but you know, let's just take a shot down here and see if it wants to retrace a little bit to the backside and we can make back something of what we've lost. But right now, 223.50 coming into play here for Apple.
It's still heavy. This is, I mean, this is like
probably a short.
I wanted to wait till the next level. We did, but it just bounced 20 cents before the sellers re-emerged. There is a key level at that price from the afternoon yesterday, underneath 224. So you're seeing it bounce off that. I'd like to see us at least get back to the 24. VWAP at this point, I think you're asking for a lot, but it's a little bit of a tighter stop at least now, because if it breaks 50, you know, if you're long at the 60s, you don't have to really hold it that far against you. Okay, here comes. All right, the market's. Yeah, okay, the market just did this. Market just went red. Let's be a little bit cautious here. The market just went red. NVIDIA doesn't hold on to VWAP, so we have to wait back into 146.5. We'll see if it makes a bounce off that level. Just going to have to wait patiently for it. Why did I not get filled on? Yeah, again. Damn. All right, let me cancel some orders on Intel. Not that it's going to pop back up there to VWAP, but we just tried to grab an ad on Intel underneath the 21 level, and it's really starting to dump. Need some other short ideas at this particular point, because if the market's going to do this, where you go red to green and all of this exuberance is trapping some people, I want something else that I like to the short side. Just for everyone asking about EVAX, I have the tap on it, but it's $7.50, which is exactly where it closed. It was like the third halt. It halts up, it halts down, it halts up. So a bit of a seesaw action on that. Usually you want to trade these ones when they calm down after the open and stop halting. That could be in that particular category. So Apple's trying to hold, but once again, if it makes a fresh low, we have to be able to jump out of this one. Take the pot shots, but at some point, it's like it's only going to said downside. There's not much left underneath here in Apple. The sell program is very real on this. We'd have to go back over to NVIDIA. Maybe this can hold VWAP and maintain its strength at least.
Yeah, I think you just got to, I think VWAP is very, very important here. We're going to try one more time on Apple, but yeah, it's same way. We were just able to get something out. We were long at 63s. We were able to get some 75s there, and nothing considerate here at all for Apple. Oh, the one thing that I wanted to talk about, first of all, FXI is a nice trade, man. That's 5 cents in the money, which is pretty good for the ETF. So we only have now like 1 or 2% left of Tesla. It came right up into that 417 area like we talked about. There's all the wicks. There goes Apple. We actually did not get the best price. It went up to 418 on those numbers, but look at that move right back in there for Tesla. So maybe trying to buy some dips there in Tesla could be something at this moment, but like you're just trying now to get back to the upside. So we'll try a little bit here on Tesla. Got to go find out where our stop is. It's still breaking an inner, oops, that's still FXI, my bad. Okay, so there's FXI. Big trade there on FXI, to be honest with you. I mean, we wrote down go long 90s, there's up to 98. We wanted to layer into this. I'm actually waiting now at 31 even to get some more out of FXI. But here's the trade that we just put on. So we just got some more in there on Tesla as it just fell back in a little bit. So let's just, Apple's now bouncing back, but let's just see if Tesla is the one that wants to go. We know we can get the juice here on this name because we've gotten it before. So now let's wait to see here what winds up happening with Tesla. There it goes, Neil. A nice little move back there for this one. And Apple also trying to get back upside. So Tesla long at 413.25 right now, a reload long in Tesla, and it just went up 60 cents. But let's see if it has some more juice to the upside. Getting a little bit out up here.
Yeah, I think that's a good look. We've reclaimed 50 on, well, you just mentioned we reclaimed 50 on Apple. And speaking of 50, if you are wondering where Rivian bounced today, I'll give you one guess. Because, well, I mean, everyone watching the morning would know that Rivian had a 1250 level on it. Well, Rivian we talked about VWAP and stocks that are holding it and stocks that aren't.
Yep.
Rivian bounced off of, okay, correction, $12.48. So Not exactly 50, I'm a little bit incorrect on that, but now it's holding VWAP. That's what you want to see. Like, this is obviously a little bit stronger. I want NVIDIA to do the same thing. It's really battling here at VWAP, but it hasn't held it yet. That's one that we need to be able to, if it puts in a higher low, got to be able to get back into it. Relative strength matters in this market. So still eyeballing NVIDIA, not yet. I think it needs to close above VWAP at least to get me into it. And Rivian, I think it's worth at least a little bit of a chase. And just pop in if it comes back underneath this 70 level. Just buy it at VWAP. It's a $12 stock. Like, really, at that point, you're 15 cents away from that 50 level, so you're not giving it a ton of room if you buy it a little bit early. Strong move for Rivian, right? Like, they, automated driving. I don't think they're going to win in that realm, but if it takes the stock higher, who cares? At the end of the day, I don't necessarily believe in that aspect of the business, but it doesn't matter if this is the bottom here temporarily on RIVN. Shout out to you, Marty.
Yeah, what's up, Marty? What's up, Marty? Okay, so just real quickly here, FXI, there's the long that we talked about. We like this long into 3090. We talked about bidding into that, so just in changing up the game a little bit as we talk a lot of tech names, here's a big win, honestly, for us on FXI. Came right into the 200 period. We were just sitting here and got filled. And we talked about this earlier. We were always bidding this 90 level ahead of the 200 period moving average. So ups-a-daisy goes FXI there on some nice China play upside on that one. Look, we were able to get out more at 414 here. It looks like it still just wants to dance around. I'm fine, just kind of like licking some of the wounds there of Apple and so on and so forth by really just trading Tesla now. Tesla's going to be a big stock, and we had written it down here. And again, I mean, if you guys remember, at 9 o'clock, I was like, look, Tesla's going to be a trade, and we want to make sure that we're on it. It was a good one. It did fall out. It almost fell out again right there on Tesla. So we're going to just start to get some out here and not like pretend that this is the best stock of all time here or anything like that. Let's just get out of some Tesla, massage the position a little bit here. There's another out at 414. We're long right now. It's 75 cents, and now it's even more in the money, and we're now out of 50% of that reload. So if this goes, man, we can really do something. So let's go here to 415 and see if we can take that out. So let's see if, okay, here it comes right away. All right, I'm gonna take this right now at 60. Let's go, Neil. That's another one. It's another chicken dinner winner. Tesla's now $1.28 in the money and going upside. Good hold there on NVIDIA at the 200 period, but look what we did. Remember, we got out of, we talked about only having half left. Right now on NVIDIA, on that reload, we have 10% left now. Could possibly reload this again and debating it. I think that's not a bad play. Would much rather be long down here, though, than at the 200 period. So I think we're fine right now. Let's just sit back and see what can happen in this market. It's only 10:10. It feels like it's later than that. I mean, I don't know.
It feels much later than that, but it is at that point. And I saw in the who was it in the chat that said this? I was looking at exactly the same thing. Ezekiel Lepera, Apple support 223.35 with 200 SMA. I mean, it wasn't just Intel's on trend. If it fails the trend line, I want to look to add on the trend line instead of VWAP. That's why I'm on that chart. But I was with you on that a second ago, and it just broke down again. So, like, yeah, and the other thing, too, is they get double barrel closes right around this price as well. But these are the technical areas to play the bounce, really, and there has been some bounce there, but it's still working to the downside. So wait for the next spot if you're trying to revert this thing. It's a runaway freight train. But just to go back over, when you're chasing a move to the downside or you're playing a move to the downside, I look for VWAP, I look for the trend. If we can make another lower high, that's the place to add. If we're not getting VWAP on Intel, then the place to add is going to be wherever the lower high happens to be. We have not, and apologies for not looking at Bitcoin here. I feel like if we lose VWAP on Bitcoin, this market might have some trouble holding green. But we are here right now. So 60 is on the bid-ish. I mean, it's like 60 and change on IBIT. And if it can break trend upside, I like that. The other play is Coinbase, although the reason I went over to Bitcoin is Coinbase looks really, really ugly and choppy. The tape is really unclean. The spread is kind of nonsensical around VWAP here, whereas IBIT is at least a little more reasonable with the exact same trade setup. I think you can just play off a round number at $60 over there on IBIT, whereas with Coinbase, it's kind of all over the place. I think it just looks like a better vehicle to trade than Coin. So I know I had Coin on my note, but that kind of looks a little nasty down there. I'd rather play on IBIT. All right, Apple I mean, it's trying again. NVIDIA is also almost at our spot. So we're waiting for NVIDIA to get back down to that low, 146.5, put in a higher low, and then we'll go back over to NVIDIA. I know it's red on the day, but it did hold this support early in the morning, so we'll look for it to hold again.
All right, I just bought one more time here off of 223. If it doesn't work, Apple, then, oh no, what happened there? Oh no, I put the wrong price. Okay, I want to buy some Apple right now, so let's just buy it here then at 12s. Okay, there it is. So we'll buy some there on Apple down here at 12s, and then we're just going to wait to see. It does look like it wants to continue to break lower. This is just like kind of fun money right down here right now. We'll see, because we can take shots because our stop isn't too far away if it does break down through this 223. So I'm going to give it to like 222, like basically 90, like just a break, and we're, oops, that's still Tesla, my bad, I'm on the wrong stock. Right there as we go long again on Apple, and let's just see where it goes. We're into some positions now, long at 10s on Apple. I mean, that's not going to be anything. We need it to go a little bit higher. Oh, I did want to give a shout out to Marty here in the chat, because again, like, I'm just glad that we have a bunch of traders out here trading with us here today. What's up, Marty? He says he loves the fact that I'm playing the Tesla long and you're playing it short, and you've hit your goals. So that's exactly what the market's all about, man. It's about hitting your goals and about making those trades. Okay, here we go, Marty. We are into this Apple trade as it just went into the 20s there off of a 223 hold. But it's not necessarily ripping. Let's get something out there. It is at 222. We're getting more and more out here of Apple. Let's see if we can put some damage back in on this one with very low amount of risk. We just explained that. It's about 15 cents worth of risk. Let's just see if it can go up. So our first, we just took some out there at 22s. Let's take some out there again at 30, and then we'll see if we can hold like 75% of this trade back into to hopefully the upside right now. But that's about it, man. I mean, Tesla just keeps going. We got some, okay, 415 coming into play again here. Like, we spin this all the time, but like Travolta's just like, man, like, we have these winners, we have these losers, but what exactly is going on right here, right now? Hopefully, we can get a carry forward now in the market. I'm all long. That doesn't necessarily mean that the longs are going to print, right? So just be careful. We're getting more out up here as we're underneath.
22, too.
The market's weak.
Sorry, 22.
Yeah, 22,000, so a good look there. Yeah, it hasn't been a long day, yet I'm long, so we'll see what happens. But
yeah, I just glanced over at AMD and was like, I'll get to that in a quick little second on AMD. But yeah, when you see AMD, you'll get it. Bitcoin just lost 60 at one short, and it's like, it's not even at the price that I like, but you couldn't even hold the view up. This is why I traded IBIT instead of Coin, because I feel like if Coin, the same thing, like you just can't have the same level of risk in IBIT. Like, I think it gave you at least a reasonable out. You can have a 90 break or an even dollar break and get out a couple of cents underneath.
At least.
Whereas Coin, like, this is what happened on VWAP at Coinbase. I mean, come on, it was just distinctly different. Like, it broke VWAP and dropped $1.50. With IBIT, you could get out for a few cents worth of a hit. Like, it's going to be 2-3 times.
Try to go Apple.
But we're only in one short trade on Intel. We just popped 21. It held on to the trend, so we're not getting VWAP. 21 is going to be the new out, and we'll just try to carry this through the low. It'll be the only real short we got. Probably should have, hindsight's 2020, but also about to go red, in theory, is AMD. Rejection of the 125 level on AMD, holding VWAP, trend down, so this one looking incredibly weak. I went over and was like, okay, well, maybe NVIDIA is about to set up for another bounce off that level. What setup? None. There wasn't anything. The first time we came down in here, there was a nice little zone where it consolidated, where you could go and build a long position, but not this time. It's just powering through the low. That leaves you with 145 as support next, and that was a big support level yesterday. NVIDIA held 145 morning session, held it at noon or just after noon. So if it gets down there, that's the only spot I'm looking reversion. Or the pops on Intel for sure. And shout out to Voldemort, because, hey, we talk about things that are above VWAP and looking okay. Rigetti, up 7%, holding on to VWAP. There's nothing wrong with that. That looks pretty good. The other name is Rivian, which I try to weasel in, as Sharif says, but sometimes you try to weasel in and sneak in on the long, and that's not the right play. The right play is to get a little more aggressive. Rivian 2% up and almost putting in a bit of a bull flag with a double top. So Rivian looks strong to me, relatively speaking. probably play this one still back at VWAP if we can. But yeah, there's that 146 on NVIDIA. Where is that bottom going to be? Hopefully not 145, because I don't think that's going to bode well for the overall market.
All right, so just a quick little talk here. NVIDIA, despite getting out, like this is where you need risk management. We talk about it all of the time. NVIDIA is P&L number one. Easy today for me, and we just lost the bottom because you're getting out when levels hold and it comes up into key levels like the 50-period or VWAP. And again, trading's all hindsight. We can always look back and say ifs and buts or candies and nuts, but at the end of the day, this is why we're posting these things. Look at FXI, bottom of the day to top of the day. You have to start getting some out. So we're doing that. Apple, same kind of ways right now. We loaded it up. We put on our biggest position in Apple down here right now. It's a little bit, I don't want to say it's revenge trading, but I'm looking at the name because it was up, turned into Redsville. What if it just gets going again is what I'm trying to think about here with Apple. So let's just wait to see if it does get that little bit of rocket boost underneath it. And if we can get anything out around the 50s on this name, then, oh man, well, we'll be having, okay, here we go. We're already having a nice little move here in Apple. There you go. Take the 36s, take the 37s. So here it goes, man. We were long on this name. It was 15 cents worth of stop. We just took 25 cents there. Hopefully Apple can get going here to the upside. It's AAPL really trying to blow up. Not only that, Neil, we also have $3. I mean, I don't like, this is just really coming in now. We have $3 now in the money. Let's take it out. Look at this NVIDIA or this Tesla trade. Oh boy, I hear this guy talking about Rivian. Not enough about Tesla by me because look at Tesla right there. This is $4 right now in the money on Tesla. So, oh boy, I mean, this has been, like I said, it's only 10:20. Like some of these moves that we're seeing here today have been absolutely huge. What a time to be a trader. And it's just been quite the run. Good out there on Apple. Like thankfully we got that 34.36 because look at this move right back in again. Trade out of the weak names if you can get a winner on those longs. So right now, good trade there on NVIDIA off the bottom at 146. Let's see if that winds up holding. I'm excited for a long play, but the long's making me nervous. We're underneath VWAP, so oh man, got to get out of some of these.
Yeah, we're real close to 22,000 again. Like the Nasdaq's barely holding on here to that 22,000 level. We're going to go to the small cap recap in a second. We are back into NVIDIA, a bit of a trend reversal here. If it can't get through, if it consolidated here before, if it loses it again, cannot let the market break back down. So let's go to Adara and the small cap recap. Go EV, who knew?
Yeah.
Go EV is actually on the small cap recap. Funnily enough, we're going to start here with IWM, which is holding decent support here. Trying right now again to break that 229 level, which was a little bit of resistance, then kind of formed as support. But the IWM on a nice little uptrend as of yesterday. Maybe potentially here around the top if we can't break back above 229 for that Russell 2000. We have HiMax. As I mentioned earlier today, this is a day 3 mover. The only catalyst in this that I've seen was around, I would actually say exactly 3 days ago to the hour. We did have a HiMax here being mentioned by Ming-Chi Kuo in a tweet saying that it's likely to be a nice benefactor or beneficiary of TSM and NVIDIA Silicon Photonics Group. So keep an eye here on HiMax being named as a Silicon Photonics play by Ming-Chi Kuo. Then we have here GOEV. There's no new catalyst here for GoEV or Canoe, but back on Friday, they did announce their Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing. That would be last Friday. Looks like it's just rallying here. About a 7% short float and lots of retail attention. Last but not least, DDD. The ticker is DDD. The company is very aptly named 3D Systems, announcing here a solution for remote spare part printing here with Dalmier buses, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, that might have been a jinx on GoEV there. That is heading swiftly to the downside as we speak. That is a bit of a topping tail candle on GoEV. Let's just quickly pay for some locates in a couple of seconds there. That's how fast it is for us at Real Trading.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I was just able to, I saw GoEV, and then obviously everyone in the chat was talking about it. Dara mentioned it. Saw that reversal candle that loses VWAP, maybe a continuation play. But we got to pay, what is that even? Oh, that's less than a buck per 1,000 shares. So like 0.9 or something. Very, very cheap locates on GoEV. As I said, if it holds on to VWAP, to the upside, then I probably don't take the short, but I want to be prepared for it. So NVIDIA is trying to make that bounce. You're seeing a bit of a move to the upside. NASDAQ still underneath 22, though. Very, very barely. I'm looking for a breakdown on Intel here, but if we make a fresh, like we break out through 21, probably need to jump out of this. The market's bouncing off lows. The market's trying to bounce off that 22 low, and if it does so successfully, I'd want to get out and then hunt for a new entry point on Intel as it continues to bleed down. There's GoAV. It actually bounces off of VWAP, so nothing yet. It just held 50 cents. But if you're going bankrupt and you trap people long, I don't know, that seems like a decent opportunity there if we lose that 50 cent level and jump underneath. Like you got 13 to 15 cents underneath VWAP. There's probably a structure of a trade where you can risk a couple of pennies to try to get 5, 10, maybe even that full 15 cents. But it has to set up first.
All right. Yeah. Look, I think it's all about risk to reward all the time. And if the setups are there, I think you go for them and then you ask questions later. And that's basically what we did with Apple. We talked about this trying to go. We got some good outs and then it dripped through and then we just punched. We basically didn't punch out. We got automatically sent out of that trade as it does break lower and then in again. So I'm not going long Apple anymore. We tried to catch too many falling knives. This is a downside play here for the market. So we're getting some more out on, I'm offering FXI right now at ones, but I'm trying to get paid to get out. So a lot of these prints are happening on free or on the midpoint. So I don't care about the size here. The market's coming back down. Let's try to get a little bit out here on FXI. Like I can't even get printed over here. Okay, there we go. We just got, okay, well, as I say it, it breaks through. So we'll go props up to actually looking at the stock and making some plays there. So hopefully that will come in for us at some point there. Again, FXI. If it does, we'll reload it. If it does not, then we obviously will not. So we'll wait to see on FXI. DraftKings right now. Okay, a little bit of a pullback in. It's not going to be news related because the market's coming back, but there's a nice little move back in, getting the scanner here on eSignal. So here's our eSignal scanner right there, bringing us DraftKings down into the 200 period moving average. So there it is right there, DraftKings, a nice move in on the 1 minute chart back into the 200. So this name losing some steam as well. This one, as we talked about yesterday with, I believe it was with the break there at the end of the day, and I said it's not technical. Oh, Google. This one might be technical because it was holding, whoops, to the downside right there into the 200 period. So watch out now for this play on DK and to the G. And then, guys, we got to get out of Tesla, right? When Tesla goes right back up there into the high of the day again, we're getting out. So now on this reload again on the downside, I'm not sure how many shares we have left, but it's under 15% left here for Tesla. Probably not going to reload this and going to use this as our out. So I'm now changing the outs on Tesla from 412s into this level right there. Basically 413, that's 412.75. So let's go 412.74. I always do a little bit less than that. Push offer, enter. We only have a small piece left. Get me out of everything that we have left there on Tesla if it does break. So FXI has been a jam for us so far. Like the stock, we'll see if it can hold out. But right now, that's really the only thing that I'm doing here on FXI. So I haven't reloaded anything. I like the good news you're looking at. Rigetti, maybe?
Well, Rigetti's a beast today.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the other quantum names. Maybe we'll look for some relative strength and weakness there, but here's that 22 thou on the NASDAQ that we're just able to wick and hold. So that's obviously going to bode well here for NVIDIA. So it did just hold at 146, kind of broke trend, held that prior bar, got the re-entry, but see, it's still sellers. Where it consolidated before for the long, you've got sellers right there again at 146 half. So right now you're getting 146 to 146 half. I was long 46, and then we added at 22s. I always put 22s and 12s. So that's what we're in. But we need to hold on. This higher low is going to be the out over there on NVIDIA. I just looked up to say, okay, GoAV is gone now, so much for that. I guess it doesn't want to break down yet. So it held on to the trend line and is absolutely blasting. I'm thinking reversion on this. I kind of don't want to chase a company going under, but if it decides to squeeze, it decides to squeeze. That's not the play that I'm looking for on GoEV. Rivian is now back at VWAP, so waited a little bit patiently for it to get back to VWAP, and now it's here. If it can revert, like break this little downward trend or just bounce off, we'll look for the little bit of a curl here on Rivian.
Get me out.
That's pretty much it. And Yeah, Apple's still not really doing what we want just yet, so maybe you have to wait a little more patiently for Apple. But at least Rivian's coming back into VWAP for us.
All right, Dara,
What's up?
We do have a crypto segment coming up here with Hive Digital Technologies in just a few minutes, but actually for Crypto Catalyst, I want to share with you guys first. Keep an eye here on IBIT doing a little bit of a bull flag and all of these other crypto-related stocks. The SEC has apparently actually rescinded an accounting rule that basically forced banks to treat Bitcoin and crypto like liabilities on their balance sheets. And because this guidance existed, it had been a bit of a deterrent here to these Wall Street banks owning and holding Bitcoin. So now that this rule has been revoked, could be a good look here for BTC and crypto, guys. Back to you.
So yeah, 105.6 right now for crypto. We looked at IBIT. I was just looking at the Qs because the Qs are near this bottom. I was just saying like something has to be. I was thinking something has to be along, and then I looked over. We're at 22,000 again, as Neil had pointed out there on the Nasdaq. So thinking about this play right here, but just also wondering like it's Friday. Obviously, it's could be some sort of relief rally to the downside there. So some taking off some of the rally and relieving some of that pressure there with the downside play into the rest of the afternoon. But we're still only 10:30. It's still so early. So I don't want to like count out the fact that this 22,000 marker is something here for the Nasdaq. So here's like a bigger chart here again, trying to hold out right now at this level for it's basically 21,977 here. We can try to see if there's some sort of a play there with the NQs. So we'll have a look there for a potential long.
GoEV is going bankrupt, right?
Was that the story there? I don't know. What was I missed what Adara said.
Oh, I chuckle because it doesn't seem to think so.
Oh no, it's going upside.
88% now on GoEV. I wonder if this can get to $1. I'm starting to think, can this get to $1?
Well, those are the plays we're looking for. If stocks get to the dollar, looking for that break. I know we talked about Polestar before making a dollar break move.
Yeah, I got to change. Well, obviously, I've just paid for locates on it, and it did not break down, obviously. But I might look for like a mean revert or something. Like you don't want to. There's no part of me that wants to jump in front of what is obviously a moving freight train here. So maybe I might put a smaller, like a 1 minute chart, and then look for a mean reversion on this. Because it's obviously squeezing and going nuts. So yeah, let's get to a 1 minute chart, and then if there's like any kind of a trend reversal on the one, which it looks like it's doing here, maybe just take the shot and give it to the high. It hasn't happened yet. If it gets to $1, that's a different story because I know I'm all over the dollar. If we can get
futures.
And obviously Rigetti is continuing to go. That $15 prior high, that looks like a pretty decent spot as well. The $15 level, maybe that prior high can give you that bit of a dip spot on RGTI.
Finally. All right. Oh, good. Okay, so there it goes right now. There goes the TQQs, man. We bought that dip. We went over to it. I said, hey, look, we pulled down the chart, Neil. We pulled down the Qs. We said we like that kind of level right here for the NASDAQ. So let's go upside right there. Long at 86. It's at 88.06. A quick 20 handle winner right there for you on the NASDAQ. So far, so good. I'm going to kick another piece out right now at 05. And hopefully by the time we come back, it will be through or at least close enough to this VWAP. And that's where you know we'll be getting some more out right now on this play. We are only out of a third right here of the futures, and you guys wanted a little bit more futures trading, so we have that right now. And you wanted some more crypto talk, so we're actually going to bring that to you right now.
Excellent.
With Adara, yes, at the big desk. Go Tesla.
That's correct here. This crypto update is brought to you by Hive Digital Technologies. Today we're going to be talking to Frank Holmes, the company's co-founder and executive chair. Great to have you on here. How are you doing today?
It's great to be here.
I think it's also a really great time to talk about crypto. Last week, of course, we were back over 100,000. Now we've actually made a new all-time high for Bitcoin. And also here, we have the first week of the Donald Trump administration, which was viewed as being pretty bullish for crypto. We've already had here the announcement of a crypto task force from the SEC. And we've also had Trump sign the first crypto-related executive order, of course, related to that digital asset stockpiling. So from your perspective here, as someone, of course, as part of this crypto company, how are these actions being viewed and received by the industry, and what type of executive orders or actions are you anticipating going forward through this administration?
I think always if there's a huge amount of supply going to hit a market, it makes the market try to preempt it and bids dry up. Now that 200,000 coins are not going to hit the market, bids are more confident in sort of price discovery. So this is really positive. The next direction will be how much money will they put into and accumulate Bitcoin. And I think maybe it'll be that Bitcoin produced in America is what will only be bought. So they know exactly where it's been early. All that will do is make the value of Bitcoin in the US more valuable. These are sort of ideas and regulations. But I think that things like, Russ Ulbricht being released, all these are important changes of embracing innovation in the blockchain. And the average person doesn't know that blockchain was created in 91. And along comes Napster in like 98, and it's peer-to-peer, and that's so key to Bitcoin ecosystem around the world. And then comes SHA-256 by the Defense Department of encryption for facial recognition. Well, that overlay is what created Bitcoin. It's an evolution. And it didn't start just in 2008 going into 9. It really started back in 1991. And I think that now we're seeing, as the technology evolved, now we're going to see regulations evolve, but at a much faster pace. We're going to see adoption come in at a much faster pace. And the value of Satoshis will go up. So if you go to buy $1,000 of Bitcoin, you're really not buying Bitcoin directly because it's over $100,000. You're buying almost 1 million Satoshis for $1,000. Where can you buy 1 million shares of a stock for 0.0007 cents or something of that nature? And when that Satoshi hits 1 penny, Bitcoin's 1 million. So I think it's very doable.
Another thing here, too, that we've had here, of course, with this new administration coming up that I think could also be a really interesting look here for Bitcoin and for that crypto growth is the fact that we had that AI infrastructure announcement coming back here with Project Stargate. This actually could have some implications here for crypto due to, as you mentioned, the blockchain, right? There has been a role here of AI tech within the blockchain, but then we also had miners here like Riot basically saying that they're going to be potentially pivoting away from Bitcoin mining towards data centers because of this news. So with that in mind here, with the various implications, how do you see this announcement changing or impacting the crypto space in the years to come from this blockchaining and mining perspective here with the next 4 years?
So from the looking at cause and effect and possible ramifications, we have to go back to the beginning is energy. Everything about making Bitcoin proof of work is all about energy. And everything about AI is energy. Really, if you don't have that energy, that source of stable energy, the data centers aren't going to work, and then the AI chips aren't going to function. So energy is going to become the real key component, then the data centers, and all the shit, they call them the sticks and shovels and picks that are necessary to build that data center. And then you're going to have the ASIC chips or for Bitcoin mining, but for AI, it's going to be the GPU chips that go in that data center. And what we've seen so fast is the value of a data center go up and the source of energy go up dramatically, and they're being deemed as sovereign property.
Thank you so much here for being here with us. I think it's a lot to think about, and I think especially too with this is only the first week. I cannot wait to see the other announcements that we're going to see here in the crypto space over the next 4 years. So thank you so much, Frank Holmes, Executive Chair.
The cheapest are Bitcoin miners because they're trying to take over Bitcoin miners and convert them to AI.
Yeah, I think that'll certainly on watch here too, the role that mining and blockchain are going to kind of intersect, right? As Riot was kind of alluding to as well, off that AI infrastructure news. So thank you so much, Frank Holmes, Executive Chair of Hive Digital Technologies, for being here with us today.
What's up, Frank? I mean, hey, 1 million? We'll take
1 million.
Just Bitcoin higher from here is great. I mean, I know there's a lot of investors on our chat there. Over 50%, I think it was, of our chat were holders of crypto. So some great information. And Frank, man, send me one of those hot hats. I mean, I like to. Why not?
Oh, that's a nice
little beehive action going on there, a little Hive. Because we're buzzing. Nice, we're buzzing about the name right now. So thank you to Hive for coming through again.
We all like Bitcoin here.
We all like it, yeah. I mean, I've been IBIT is on the sticky note. So, but anyways, 106, good level there. Great interview. Thanks, Dara, and thanks Hive for that. And you can go check them out here with Hive. They're both on the NASDAQ Hive blockchain right here, $3.315. And also, you know, again, up 1.5%. Nice little move there for Hive. Definitely trying to base out. We talk about that all the time. Sometimes you got to take shots. And right there at this bottom, we talk about Marathon, Hive. Frank just sort of laid out the case there for them. So yeah, go check it out. Hive listed there on the NASDAQ and as well listed on the venture exchange here, hive.vn. And the thing about all of these names is you can get them on what I consider the best platform around for charting, and that of course would be eSignal. We talk about it all the time. Scan that QR code and just be part of it. Trust me when I tell you, all of these scanners, I mean, right now I have 3 positions on, but sometimes we'll have 5 or 6, and they all hit on the scanner. You want to be able to connect also to your broker. I just saw on the screen there, over 50 plus brokers. I'm going to pull down the charts and show you. I've already showed a couple times today. This alert window for me is what it's all about. Like right there, NVIDIA right here on alert. So you can call it up, you click on it. Again, it's integrated. There's NVIDIA breaking below the low of the day. And look, the number 1 name here right now on my alert tracker, NVIDIA, SPY, the SPXL, DraftKings. This alert ticker from eSignal is something that I've curated myself. So I put in the tickers and able to watch whatever I want. But they also do have a pretty hot list right here as well. And it's called the hot list, and it goes by trade rates. So like right now, it's saying to us that Palantir is buzzing right now. So as you can see, there goes Palantir buzzing to the upside. It's telling us to, hey, you, look at Rigetti, look at QBTS, look at NVIDIA. These are all huge levels and huge information portals for you to trade with. Like just sitting here trading and listening to us is one thing, but no matter what software you have, you want to make sure it's reliable and able to get you the data. You know, you might not be, Neil, these hot lists, like you might not be looking at NASDAQ stocks.
That's
you're in
the thing.
Toronto.
Well, also too, like
you can flip it up.
The chat was all honest. Well, the chat, you guys were all honest about what the quantum names were doing. Yeah. Obviously, you know, you got a watch list, and certainly it's going to help you get a quote board like Sean just had there. You set up some alerts, and then have a group of stocks that you want to be in. You never know where the next trade is going to be. Like if you told me that GoEV was going to be going under, and I was going to be shorting GoEV at like 65 cents this morning when it was 33 cents yesterday, I'd have told you you're full of it. But that's exactly what happened. Obviously during the interview, a lot can happen. They said we're looking for a mean revert on GoEV. Well, it did. It broke the trend here. I shorted right underneath 66 cents. And then this is more a line of best fit than a trend line, just so you guys don't at me for this not looking very good. But it goes right into the line of best fit and then bounces. So I was able to get 90% of it out, and then it broke the high. So GoEV is still going. Pun definitely not intended. And maybe it does.
It was intended.
Not really. This might get to $1. If it gets to $1, I'm only looking reverts. I'm not chasing this move. Forget about it. I'm just looking for another reversion trade on GoEV. Maybe it's 85 cents. I don't know. But whenever it sets up some kind of a real higher low here, I'll just kind of connect the dots and then get in, risk a couple of cents to try to pull back into VWAP. I don't need that trend line. I don't need that trend line. But this is doing 75 million shares. Obviously, it's got a pretty interesting catalyst for it here today. But yeah, the next trend I think is going to be some kind of a trend revert on this, which I guess does want that dollar level badly. Sometimes you see this happen, right? Where it's a relief rally on a sort of heavily shorted type of name. And that's what you're getting here on GoEV. That dollar is a significant level, not just because of a buck. You can pull it up on a higher time frame, like in the daily chart right here, and just sort of see that dollar level. If we come to my chart for a second, it's not just that it's a round number. I mean, it was a flat bottom break, it consolidated pre-split, then split, and then a breakdown underneath. So patience game for sure on GoEV to kind of pick your spot. If you're long, great. You can just sort of hold on to it. But if you're looking short, you got to have a very good setup plan.
Yeah, and I think like trading with a plan is the number one thing that we talk about over and over and over again. What was this? Rob put something. Oh, chance for a chicken wing. Oh.
Well, I asked for a coffee, and he said.
Yeah. The wing. Those
wings were yesterday.
All right. So, look, we're layering in now to the futures, and I want to see us hold this 22,000, and I'm trying to give it down right here on the NASDAQ into 87.50. The only thing is, like, now that I'm looking at this, look at this trend. We're now like starting to just get sort of, we kind of topped out there. And as you can see, if we draw a line, we are now underneath it right here. So we're starting to loop downside right now on the 50 period or the 200 period moving average here on a 5-minute chart. This is where I'm stopping out if we break. So that's like 87. It's 87.50, but I'm going to give it a little bit more room. The stop out for this trade is like 87.25, is like down into here, just before we had that sort of get up going. So again, we're just long right here. The best we've been able to get, like this was an 87.80, and you know, we went to Frank there from Hive, and thanks for that. But it goes up into 88, and that was basically the best that we had gotten. We got 88.11s right there, 88.10s maybe. So that was a good move. That was about 30 cents. So we're trying to do something very, very similar now with this trade. Trying to give it, like I just told you, about 30 cents to the downside is where we'll stop out, and then we'll try to, I'm going to see if we can hold this and like get to the 200, get to VWAP, but like the 50 period is a pretty decent spot as well. And then something out right around here where we just got out at 90s, by the way. So we went long there at 65. Those outs are 85, 87, 91. So some good outs there back up to the upside, but right now we're just like holding on. We got an average price right here, right now of 77. So yeah, that's sort of what I'm rocking with here, and just kind of like not really hoping for the best, but like, honestly, just hoping that the NASDAQ holds. And there's 22,000. So if we get this bump up, I mean, we're here to trade it. And again, we analyzing things like, is the market really in trouble? We got some numbers today. Those have all been bled through right now. The NASDAQ is definitely on a downtrend. We're underneath VWAP. We're underneath the 50-period moving average. But at the end of the day, we've seen rallies in the NASDAQ. We saw a big one yesterday. I mean, that Playmaker poll is up. And it's long every afternoon, every midday, basically. So I don't think
basically, literally.
Literally, yeah. Well, I don't. I think it's probably like
always
70-30. I think, isn't it, or so?
It's never been short once. It's, as a matter of fact,
It's 100%.
for the record, I am now voting
So it's
short.
literally the best trader that we've ever seen.
I've been like just as a joke been voting short, even just because I
take
know
it more serious,
because I
man.
know it's not, but I know it's not going to win. I was taking it seriously almost every single day, and
No, me and you are both voting short because it never.
I'm voting short just for a laugh because I know it can't get any support. It's kind of, well, I don't want to get into politics.
Look, I'm proud to say that that poll is 100 times better than Neil and I. So congratulations.
It can't stop.
It's perfect, apparently. It's won every
Well, it's
day.
not perfect.
You guys have been.
No, it's up.
Oh,
So-
it's 50% accuracy.
No,
Okay,
but
so-
the principle's 2-to-1 risk to reward, right? Which mathematically, if you have you guys
How many
understand.
units is it up?
You don't have to win even 50% of the time in that regard, and then you're
It's
fine.
up 5 units, and how many days has it been going? 30 sessions. Right, 30 sessions, 5 units. So unless your unit is like $1,000, like each unit, like you're putting in $1,000 worth of risk, and we could talk about the units and everything like that when it goes to their show. Still, that just shows to show you how tough trading really is, right? I mean, you can clearly see all that, but that's okay. So Trump talking right now about Germany and trade practices and all that, but we're already long FXI, and let's go, man. I want to watch that. That Playmaker poll is very exciting. I like the 2-to-1 ratio. We're in the futures, so that's the same thing. So I guess we'll trade futures, and so will you guys. So that's wicked. So thanks for that, guys, on the community spot right there. But we're long right now on the TQQs. I can load up this is something that we should probably, we talk about this all the time. Like, we could load up our statements and tell you guys like what stocks on the month we're up or we're down on, you know how well they're doing and things like that. As I ask these guys how it's doing, that's probably something that is of interest. Okay, so right now the TQs trying to make a move back up. We just took a piece out as we said we would into 88. Oh boy, here we go right now. We're at 98s and then stop until 88.15, which is right up here into the 200 period moving average. So we're at 98, and oh boy, Neil, we're doing it again right now with a 20 handle winner on the futures. Let's see if we can continue the good vibes right now and get some more out at 98. Only 13 minutes left until the big guys bring you VWAP. Elliott wave theory. So if you're like, you're here in Toronto and it's like, it's really cold here and you're thinking about like, you want to get into those, nice little summer breezes and join those waves and all that kind of stuff. Join these two studs beside me here during the midday show and they will go over Elliott wave theory.
Sharif was just rocking Summer Breeze, Makes Me Feel Fine. And he was singing it. I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to sing it.
Makes you feel fine.
That's a great song.
Yes, man.
It's a great song.
I mean, this is what we're doing. There it goes right now. TQ's, by the way, another banger for you. Right there. All right, Neil, let's go. Kill them with kindness.
We came back over to, well, you know, it's Go EV. We had it actually 3 times. Once, twice, thrice.
Yeah.
And yeah, OB thrice. I know I'm supposed to say OB thrice. Sorry.
No,
Once,
you're not.
twice, OB thrice. There you go, Sharif. That's one's for you. Off of the 80 level. So
Get it, Neil.
it ended up being 80 that it pulled back to, but look at it hold on to the 70 level. So each time it pulls back, you gotta make sure you're getting out. Last time I actually was out of, when it got to prior support, I was out of like 90%. I want to make sure we're doing the same thing. And if it gets to VWAP, we're looking all out. Look at the trend up on Go EV. They don't care that they're going under. It doesn't matter if you're going under.
But sometimes it's the best news.
Sometimes that's the best. Exactly. Sometimes it's the best news. I mean, Nikola had that same thing yesterday. And yeah, Nikola's up today, right? Like we heard the same thing yesterday that Nikola was going under. And look at that at Nikola. Double top at that 94 level. Might pay for some locates on Nikola, see if that 94 is going to do something there. Let's go to Adara. Time for Money Talks.
Yeah.
We're actually going to do a bit of a Money Talk Sector Watch hybrid just due to the fact that we did have to push back some segments because we had our special guest here on the crypto segment. We're going to start here with Money Talks, though, which is actually the USD is at an incredible support resistance level here. Look at this. We are holding 107.30s. Now, this is actually a level of resistance going back here to late November 2024, actually briefly breaking our incredible uptrend starting in late September 2024. This also, though, formed as resistance going back to late September, early October 2023. So this is a massive support resistance level on the US dollar. Can we hold it? We'll have to find out. We did get here today on the economic data front some stronger than expected, slightly stronger than expected 5-year inflation print, but the 1-year coming exactly in line with expectations. Slightly lower than expected, though, is Michigan consumer sentiment. I also think it's worth noting here stronger than expected existing home sales and kind of mixed performance here for the S&P PMIs. 2 of them were well over expectations. The other one was a little bit below. So not a ton of clear communication here in this economic data. One number that we definitely have to watch, though, of course, has been the inflation projections for the University of Michigan. So definitely be aware of that. Also worth noting here, we have basically still the exact same odds of a rate cut, 99.5% of participants. So basically everyone here expecting we will get 0 rate cut going forward on January 29th. And that actually is funny because that happens as we had Donald Trump yesterday saying that he would like to speak to Fed Chair Jerome Powell because he actually wants to bring interest rates lower immediately. So interesting note here. We'll have to see how that all unfolds. But I think it's certainly worth noting that Donald Trump has said he's willing to put a little bit of pressure on the Fed for that to happen. Now, here's our sector board. Not a lot to talk about here anyway. It's pretty mixed on a day that we were a little bit flat in the Qs and the SPY. Electronic technology, I would say, is really mixed, though. We've got some weakness here in TXN. Basically, we did have, of course, Texas Instruments with their earnings. This is Intel a little bit to the downside as well, but then we have other chip names like Broadcom to the upside, AMD to the upside. So really mixed picture here in electronic technology. Health technology also mixed. Intuitive Surgical down about 5% on earnings, but Eli Lilly up 2.5% likely here in sympathy with Novo Nordisk stronger than expected weight loss drug news. So basically, much like the market, a lot of these sectors are not painting super clear pictures today, guys. Back to the
Not painting clear pictures for sure, but Novo Nordisk, I'm really happy when that pulled back to see Eli Lilly actually hold up a little bit, although I fret to look at it again. We'll go there in a second. Go EV, I saw in the chat, and what I love about this is what I was seeing on the tape, apparently there was a moving average. I saw in the chat, someone's like, it's holding the 20 on the trend line on Go EV. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's holding this 70. I was just looking at the bid at 70 and saying, hey, you got to keep getting out at 70, and if it breaks trend back up, just get out. So whatever moving average that happens to be, you can see it when it gets down there that it's buying it back up. It also happened to be an even 70-cent level, which made it a little bit cleaner. I can tell you one thing. My practice of entering orders on these penny stocks, it's like, oh, I used to be really, really quick and fast at these 3-4 digits getting the orders in, but it's definitely holding trend, but it has worked for the reversion a couple times here. That said, if it gets to $1, that's a different beast if it gets to $1. on Go EV. This one is absolutely flying to the upside, kind of like unabated to the quarterback kind of thing. The market's still looking okay. I'm going to go, like, I've got this up, because like all of a sudden, it's a bit of a different look on Apple. Maybe the 15 minutes going to do it a little bit more justice here on Apple. See, on the 15-minute, this is actually holding the trend reversion as opposed to, there's a bounce and an immediate rejection. There's a bounce and at least attempting to close green here on Apple. So it was the first time in a while this is looking like it could be a little bit of a local breakout long. That said, I'm kind of fixated on Go EV and looking for the next available trade on Go EV. So a couple of times we've been able to get that curl. Each time it's pulled back about 10 pennies, and then you kind of go a little bit higher. So if we get to that 90 or get to that $1, I'll look for the same setup.
What's up, basket case? Oh, you want it? There it is, basket case. You talked about it right there. And look, man. What did you want, basket case? You think you want a hot dog cannon? Okay, let's get the hot dog cannon going. Right there it is for you. What's up, basket case? Hey, maybe you're another real one, basket case. You would have him to lose. Right there. But there it goes, man. Thank you so much for that. And it means a lot. Like, when we write down things on here, and like Tesla, like we wrote down Tesla long 414. You know, there's a reason why NVIDIA #1 P&L today, Tesla #2 P&L today. It's this 414 is held. I mean, we just got stopped out. We had less than 5% or 8% or whatever we talked about. But it's been holding this 414, right? That's 413. So here's 414 right now. So when you look at notes like this, it's like you got to adjust intraday and sort of trade the plan and make sure that you get out when it pops and reward yourselves. Because like we talked about this, NVIDIA, the #1 P&L name today, and it was only long, you know, and then it breaks and we get out. Risk management, just like Neil's talking about with Go EV. It's the same thing here with FXI, right? I mean, our stop rate here was 80s. We wrote that down. So that's 11 cents or so worth of a stop, you know, to now capture. Again, it's only 20 cents upside, but that's a nice move for FXI. And we talked about this right on our note. Again, you got to have macro ideas, right? And that is that we talked about Trump and how he seems to be, you know, speaking very kindly right now, anyways, about some of the China was on our watch list there today. So good job there at Darish Sharif and everybody who created that. And that really, you know, brought my attention to it. So I want to thank the watch list for those trades. And then there it comes right up there. And I want to thank all of you for believing in me as well, especially you, basket case. I think that's what my wife calls me half the time. But right there, $88 just came in. That's another 35 handle winner right there for you on the TQs. We're trying to hold a little bit. We still got 2/3 of this. So let's see if it really wants to go upside. We're going to put in some work at the gym. Then we're going to come back and hopefully we'll be able to spin this name a lot higher than where we are right now. So far so good here on the day, man. It's been a good day. I mean, Apple really pissed me off, but we'll see if it's trying to rebound now. And no, not really. Still down here at 223. So yeah, you know, it's been a day. Needless to say here today. And I just want to thank everybody for sticking with us and watching us. And for everybody that has winners today, congratulations. And those that don't, you'll get it back. So don't you worry about that one. I'm going to put another order out right here for 5% at 87 for the TQs, or actually that went to 88s. So too bad. We should have put maybe 87s. Just underneath the 50-period move. There we go. We got it. Just underneath the 50-period moving average. Let's take another piece out here on a long position there on the futures.
Yeah, good look there. And so Apple did not trend revert. Obviously, it looked good for a hot second, but it couldn't hold on. NVIDIA did and make a little bit of a curl here. It broke, held the trend line. Well, sorry, didn't hold the trend line, broke the trend line, closed above the trend. Prior bar low was going to be the out. But at the same time, Intel broke VWAP and then wicked it. Well, if you wick me out of a stock that's been a short all day long, I want to look to get back in. If this closes back under VWAP, I don't mind jumping back in. I mean, ultimately, we didn't get to this one early enough, I don't think, but I want to give it a little bit more of a chance. It looks like it wants to close under VWAP again, and then we'll jump back into that short. It's 2.5 down. I don't know what AMD is doing, to be honest with you. Actually, AMD's back above VWAP, so that looks pretty good. And then Go EV, it did curl, but it didn't really give you the setup that I needed. So it did make another curl, but it didn't really break the trend the way that I wanted to see. Like, you couldn't really get a consolidation short like you could here or like you could there. It was just a huge breakdown, And all of a sudden, I think it's on the other side now. The day-long trend is broken on GoEV. So waiting for the top, I think, is gone, and I got to look for a lower high. So different entry plan here as the days-long trend is gone for GoEV. And yes, the news of them going under was it was like on Tuesday that they had that news. But sometimes you get a relief action, rally to the upside, right? If it sustains this all day long, I'd be a little bit surprised. But you have to have a bit of a rule of action to get into the short. Otherwise, it could go up forever, and then you could get yourself burned over and over again. So I got to pick my spots. If it holds underneath the prior all-day trend, that can be an entry and give it to the prior bar high at 78. Intel, we'll see if we get back in. It's still battling with VWAP as we speak.
All right, guys. I apologize because we're supposed to be looking at active names, and we've looked at it, but we haven't really traded Rigetti there, and there it goes, right up through $16. So I cannot believe we were just long this at $6 at like the beginning of the week. Rigetti, I guess it was last week. Rigetti, huge move off the 50 period, now looking to take down $16. Remember, you have that gap right there, 1680 or so, with that high wick in and around here as well. So I don't want to necessarily call a short here in Rigetti, but maybe you are trying to turn around just a little bit now on RGTI. I'll try a spot short against that top wick there. That wick, again, on decent volume. The last time we had a decent volume candle, it didn't necessarily spurn a downside move at all. So that might not necessarily be the top, but we'll try it right there on Rigetti. I'll put another spot in and around $16, but so far so good there as we just punched the short in RGTI, but who knows? It just went 5 cents for us. That doesn't matter. That 16, it's not going to halt on us, so our stop orders should be fine. It looks like there's tons of volume here. So we're waiting for a flush, but at the same time, like understanding that high we have at 1620. So that's 1620 there. So if I'm going to put that as our out, then yeah, man, like we're going to see, because this could easily move back into the 50 period, 1540s or something on a little bit of a dumpy dump there for Rigetti. But let's just see. Just think it might be worth it. I know a lot of you, well, I'm not trading this, okay, I'm not trading this with huge shares or anything, but if it goes to the downside, we'll be able to put some profit, obviously, on the board. So I'll put something there at 60, 25% is what I was going to say. If we can get out 25% right here at this sort of shelf, we'll do that. We flip it on its head. We put up Rigetti, and there it goes right now. It's a quick little 10 cents, 15 cents now in the money on RGTI. Let's see if it just continues to go lower here. It's Rigetti, and it is heading to the low side, and we've got the short.
Yes, sir. Oh, it is 11 o'clock. We got some Elliott wave theory
headed
for you from the midday guys. So once again, I know what the poll is going to be, and to get a chance to break off those lows on the NASDAQ, which is always risk to reward. It's probably a good look for the Playmaker poll. Let's get on. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. Well, let's get on to the midday. Learn some Elliott waves with the Bash Brothers. Go get them, boys.
Yeah, the Bash Brothers in the building.